Congratulations. Briefly, yes.
All my family, my wife Ramona stand, all my neighbors stand, the church family, pastors. I just like to just thank you for all the love that you have given me and given me the opportunity to serve TNEC. And I'd like to thank all the board members, all the different boards that I serve on, give me an opportunity to serve. And I'd like to, most of all, thank my parents who taught me about love, service, race relations during the days of the segregated school systems and the integrated, which I was first class to graduate from our system in Emporia, Virginia, 1969 and 70. And really, nothing never changed. I learned so much through the process. But thank you to my parents, James and Louise Seals, for their steadfast teaching. And I'd like to also thank the community, the relation board, and I'd like to thank the town council and our steadfast manager, Jackie Hasman. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to serve TNAC. And most of all, my neighbors, I really want to thank them because they're very important to me because of the fact in all my absentees, they are also always making sure that my home is safe, the street is safe, and they watches over the neighbors when I'm not there to do that part of the job. So I got the most wonderful neighbors and a most beautiful church member for always praying for me and going. My pastors always say, "Where are you going now?" So I keep them praying all the time for me in the church. But thanks to everybody, and thanks TNEC, and God bless TNEC and continue to bless the unity and love of our town.
The next group is the TNEC Junior Soccer League. The TNEC Junior Soccer, yes. The TNEC Junior Soccer League has served TNEC for over 40 years. It's totally voluntary and privately funded, except for a small stipend that they receive from the township. Throughout the soccer league, they have formed, The soccer league provides recreation level to travel programs for all TNEC's children, all ages, backgrounds, religious, ethnic, socioeconomic, and cultural groups, where they come together on one field each week to play the game they love. Some of their highlights have been the youth referee program, which has given teens the ability to learn a skill and be paid for it. A college scholarship program, which was developed to reward high schoolers who volunteer to coach and assist in running the organization. And they were the guiding force to getting the sports complex and field house built for the betterment of all youth sports in TNEC. The organization has shown itself as a standout group of dedicated volunteers who have made living and growing up in TNEC a great place to be. TNEC Junior Soccer League. Congratulations. A picture? Get a picture.
Come on, board members, coach.
Everyone.
Thank you.
You want to say? Haley. Next, we have two youths, both can have your attention. Yes. So we couldn't decide between the two nominees for our youth group. So we decided to nominate two young ladies. The first is Hallie Palmer. Hallie, sorry. Hallie is the chair of the TNEC Youth Advisory Board. She is a member of the she's a TNEC writing coach, peer math tutor, volunteer for the school-based election. She works in collaboration with the Parks and Recreation Department, the Board of Education, and the TNEC Township to bring and establish the Little Free Libraries to Votee Park. Due to Hallie's efforts, 2 libraries were installed. Her mission is to improve literacy in TNEC. In addition, she's a member of the Girl Scouts, the freshman, I can't read his handwriting, freshman student ambassador, drum major, and a member of the Black Youth Organization. Congratulations, Hallie. Brief remark. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to the Youth Advisory Board, the advisors, our actual board, and the Teaneck Town Council for supporting my endeavors as head chair for the past 2 years. I'm about to hit my 5th year as a Teaneck resident, and I've honestly wouldn't take it back for the world. It's made my high school experience, and honestly, I'm grateful to be in a position to give back. So I'll continue to do so. Thank you so much.
And our next awardee is Kayla Beidelman. Kayla is the vice chair of the TNEC Youth Advisory Board. She assisted in facilitating 2 Little Free Libraries in Votee Park. Look, this is not my handwriting. While working with the Youth Advisory Board to install the free libraries in TNEC and her work with the Parks and Recreation Department, I can't read this writing. Kayla, other community involvement includes volunteer with TNEC Packathon, role model program with the National Coalition of 100 Volunteer, 100, and I'm the past president, Jesus, 100, National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Board of Education Campaign, Black Student Union, President of the Film Club, National Honor Society, Varsity Track, and Varsity Chair. So yes, congratulations, Kayla. Good job.
I have been a part of the Teaneck Youth Advisory Board for all of my high school, about 4 years. I would like to thank all of the members, the chair, all of the advisors for helping support all of the work that we've done in the town. I would also like to thank my parents, my mom for supporting me throughout my high school journey. And thank you so much.
So again, on behalf of the Advisory Board on Community Relations, congratulations to all of our winners. We appreciate your service and your dedication to TNEC. Thank you.
Does anyone in council want to share any thoughts before we move outside?
Well, I don't want to get in the way of cake, but I do want to thank, first of all, our advisory board. I know how much thought went into this. I was on the Community Relations Advisory Board when we came up with the whole concept of the Matthew Feldman Award. And I want to say thank you to all the volunteers and all your hard work, and certainly all the people that received the awards and the recognition today. Well deserved. And I agree with Councilmember G. You are definitely the best dressed person I know. And one of the kindest. And one of the kindest.
Roosevelt, you are TNEC. I have been honored to serve with you on the Senior Citizen Advisory Board and now on the Patriotic Observance Advisory Board. And there is nothing that you do in this town that is not out of love for everybody who lives here. There's nothing that you won't point out that needs fixing, and it's always for the betterment of the people who live in town. There is no event that takes place that we don't get pictures from you right after. And there is no event that you don't attend across such a broad spectrum of residents here. You're always there for everybody. You're so very lucky to have Ramona next to you, always. And I feel very blessed to call both of you my friends. For Hallie and Kayla, you are both an inspiration. You are always smiling, and with resumes like that, and with how busy you both must be, that amazes me because we get very grumbly up here. But I wish you both the best of luck going forward. And I think TNX Soccer is such a wonderful choice for the advisory board to have made also, because you really bring youth from all over town together to play together and to learn to get to know each other, and by extension their parents to get to know each other. So such great choices. Thank you so much to the Advisory Board of Community Relations for all the work that you do. You guys are great.
She's maybe grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I'm actually not gonna. I guess I'm not gonna get tomorrow the 97 pictures with the massive amount of data that it uses up on my phone from Roosevelt. So we should honor him every year. It'll save us that. Roosevelt, obviously, also want to mention, of course, your other uniform, your career as a veteran, command sergeant major. I think that's a little more important than the suit attire, but we thank you for all your hard work on behalf of everyone. Always keep the complaints coming right to the manager, like that. I think we'd have to take a moment just to remember two very important people of the teenage junior soccer community who have passed away suddenly. Bill Burke and Ken Hoffman. Bill actually passed away during a soccer meeting, actually. And so those were people who I coached 27 teams between soccer and Little League. I don't know, and it was a great experience for me, and it actually kind of brought me into the civic environment and up into this dais. So thank you guys, well deserved, and we look forward to many more years working with the soccer league, and especially with new fields. Lastly, when you read about people in life, you're like, oh, I wonder how it started. There's always sometimes there's a story how they were like, they didn't really have much of education, they didn't really do anything, they got lucky. These two young ladies that we honored tonight, we know where you're going. When we look back, we see it coming. We see it coming. There's not going to be surprised when we read about you guys. So keep up the good work. You know what hard work does, and it will work out. The hard work does benefit you, and you'll see that. Keep it up. Thank you on behalf of TNEC for everything you do.
I just want to chime in as well to say, I mean, we can't be prouder of what the product is of our township. I mean, and it's such a wonder to see you, Roosevelt, to attend so many meetings, and you support our township in so many ways, and keep the pictures coming. I think it's always great to have that. I also would just want to say that, as a community, it's great to see a wide variety, from having a soccer team being honored to having two wonderful young ladies that have such a bright future. It's so wonderful to see that, and to see, I applaud you for everything that you do. Service truly is the rent that we pay to live on this earth. And it's so great to see that you have bought into service, and you see the importance of it, and so forth. So I just want to applaud all four of you. Thank you for all that you do for our township.
I'll be quick so that we can get to the cake and really celebrate and have some fun. I just want to say thank you to the honorees. Congratulations. Thank you, though, for everything that you do for our hometown, because you are truly inspiring. So please keep it up. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. And thank you so much. You deserve this. Congrats.
I just want to say, so I always look forward to the Maddie Feldman Award as one of two people on this dais that were privileged to know him. I also had the privilege of calling him my family. So congratulations to Roosevelt, Kaylee, Haley, and the Teaneck Junior Soccer League, which my family has been part of. My siblings were players and coaches as well, for honoring, for being the winners of this award. So just some background, Maddie was the master of diplomacy and finesse, and he succeeded best in the art of conciliation, and he was instrumental in advancing the integration of Teaneck schools in the 60s. Maddie believed in the power of service, and he stood against hate and bigotry, and he really believed in, with moral conviction, courage, character, and consistency, and he didn't wait. He just created moments, and he created the Advisory Board of Community Relations, actually. He had this unwavering belief that showing up for Teaneck matters, no matter what was going on. And he really believed in figuring out how we hold each other together. His leadership was not symbolic. It was real, and it was felt, and it's still felt in this room today. He really was Teaneck at its best, and looking at the winners this year, I couldn't agree more. Councilman Katz, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong here. I know Mayor Cates created the award. I think you named it. I'm not sure.
That is correct. I didn't want to boast in front of everybody.
Well, I'm giving you credit.
But-
You know, but the priority was that this award was always about Teaneck, not about politics or bylaws or any competition. And he knew how to make Teaneck great. So to the winners, you all exemplify the true best of Teaneck. This is what Teaneck's really about, and I'm really happy to see that his legacy is living on here. I couldn't think of a greater group of winners for my uncle's award.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So as you heard, we do have some cake and refreshments. So
And we'll take an adjournment. We'll meet back. We'll start back at 8:40. You can leave, or you're more than welcome to come back.
before you leave, can we?
Goodness. I don't have to take my Wegovy tonight. I think I lost my weight. It's still hot up here.
Check, check. Yeah, there we go. Okay, next up is our Field Advisory Board's presentation. Our chair, Mr. Berliner, please come on up. And we have some controls. You have some controls going on? Work it.
I have a couple more than 3 minutes, right? By the way, who thought it was going to be a good idea to have cake and coffee with the high school football and baseball teams in the house? I think they're still trying to finish that up. So, Doug, this is the copy I sent today, right? Perfect. So let's take a step back. Let's go back a couple of years. Let's remind those who haven't been here before or need a little reminding what we're doing here, why we're doing it, where we've been, and what we're trying to do. But first and foremost, I just want to remind our elected council members, tonight is your opportunity to keep the commitment that you made to your constituents, to those who were in the room, to the students, to the players, to the coaches, to start this process last year after we made that initial presentation. There was a unanimous vocal support and direction to the manager to start the initial engineering discussions, and we hope that that can actually kick off tonight, as we were promised 1 year ago. So in 2014, the Sportsplex opened, and we learned a lot during that process. It was before my time. We know the history of Voti Park, of Voti Field, but there was a need for a new turfed over, multi-sport, multi-field, multi-use facility in the center of town to be used by everyone and to give the residents of this town the best in modern athletic sports equipment that we could. And the reasons for that are, we know, right? Parks are in the bottom of where the water all drains to. And after it rains, you can't use a field anymore. If you want to use a field once, twice a week, you can't if it's grass. If you want to use it the entire season, the football field at the high school doesn't make it through a season. Soccer fields that are grass in Voti Park today don't make it through after a wet season. The water pools, we need to fix that drainage. In 2024, the township invested again and constructed a Prada field down by the Hawthorne School, a little league-sized field, so much smaller than we have for high school or for seniors. Artificial turf. So we know how to do this. We know there are cost savings. We know the environmental issues. We know that it's safe. And we also know that we can take care of a field, that TNEC takes pride in its field, and the divisions within our Department of Recreation and our Department of Public Works have expertise in addressing the needs of these unique facilities. And again, 1 year ago, we were in front of this body and we had your commitment to move forward on this. And we've been invited back again because we're still waiting for that next step. Kristen, can you move that forward? I apologize. Up one. Yeah. So there's a narrative that is out there that I've heard in these chambers, I've seen online, I've heard it in the various advisory boards that I'm part of. Folks have mentioned it to me in person that I think just needs a little bit of correcting and just sharing of information. A year ago, I did a presentation on all of the work that was done and has continued to happen throughout 2022, 2023, 2024, the investment in our recreation and our parks. What I'd like to do now is run through some of the completed projects in 2025, as well as what's happening in 2026. And you'll notice there are arrows pointing to almost every single park in every single corner of the township, right? Where there's a facility, where there's a playground that needs to be upgraded, where there's a prefab restroom that needs to be installed, where there's a basketball court that needs to be fixed. It happens. The township and our council continues to invest in that. Dots where you don't see on there, up north, if you go towards the Matt Feldman nature area, you go up to Coolidge Park. Again, these are parks which don't necessarily have courts. They won't have courts, but we also know that there are projects that are missing from here. 2026 has no less work happening. And this does not all come out of the capital budget, right? This is not all dollars that are coming out of spend. A lot of this work, and I defer to the CFO, I defer to the manager on this, come out of matching grant funds from, say, the New Jersey Open Space, from Bergen County Open Space, from other private grants that we may get. So again, they are very efficient in how they fund the work that they do for us. It is not all out of the capital budget. Please go to the next slide, Doug. So Teaneck Parks and Fields. Again, we saw this last year, and I'm just going to quickly focus on the left side. When we went down the path for this project, we considered every single park in Teaneck. We considered every single park that has a field in Teaneck. And actually, those dots represent every single park that has a baseball or softball field in Teaneck. And again, they're all over the town. So the question remains, why in Voti Park? And we can talk about it's the center of town. We can talk about it's the biggest park with the most space. But if you go to the next slide, Doug, we'll see it's really the only park that makes any sense. So what we're recommending here and the work that we've done is to work towards a full 60, 90-foot baseball field. Well, what does that mean? What that means is that a high school-sized field can also be used for college, can also be used for more senior levels at Little League, is 90-foot baselines, right? There's a full-size field, and you need outfield walls probably between 320 and 380 feet. There's currently only 2 fields that have that in town. There's Hawthorne, which is grass, and there's Lancers, which is grass also. But what that means is that after it rains, after there's a storm, they're unusable. The only reason why they can even be played on or practiced on is because we have volunteers that go out and spend hours putting out the covers, pulling the covers back, grooming the fields, putting out the clay, making repairs. And they spend hours doing this every time it rains and before every game to make sure that it is playable. And I want to make sure that we call out the support that we have from the DPW as well as the Department of Recreation as well. But if we look at the other 6 fields that I have up there, and I've purposely left off Herrick, although that is not on there because that isn't even on Google Maps yet. There are 6 other fields that have 6 other parks that have baseball fields, and I actually have the distances out from home plate to the outfield and where the hazards are. Phelps Park, less than 200 feet to the outfield wall. Can't expand that. There are trees that are protected, and there is a playground. Sagamore Park, again, you're hitting a fence, you're hitting a road. Terhune, if you look, there is the obstacle of the tennis courts, as well as an incline, as well as a very short right field you would have going into the Hackensack River. Amon Park, left field, you have the basketball courts, and in right field, it's about 150 feet if I can read that. Brooks Park, Argonne Park, the same thing. There are hazards, and unless you want to start tearing up basketball courts, pickleball courts, other facilities, protected trees, playgrounds, Voti is the only place that has the space to do this project. Doug, if we go on, we can skip through this. We've been through this before. The next 2 are summaries of what we looked at. We saw these as well. We can come back to them if needed. But if you go to the slide that has critical questions. So to sum it up, does the township have the funds available? I believe that it absolutely does. In the most year-end report that was presented in the beginning of December to this council, the latest numbers that we had from the CFO, and again, I defer to the CFO. I have an email out to see what the actual numbers are right now. The unaudited balance as of the 14th of November was over $2 million. And because of the referendum, and we continue to collect on that, every quarter it goes up over $200,000. This also does not include the PSE&G diversion funds that we know might be available, as well as any other matching funds, grants, fundraising through any of the programs that we've discussed or that might be out there. Has the board considered the environmental impact? It absolutely has. I went out, we found that the NJDEP actually wrote a technical memo in 2023 for the Green Acres program. And they asked the question, is artificial turf safe? Should we continue to fund it? And their finding at the time was absolutely yes. You can absolutely manage and control that and mitigate any of the risks that anyone has mentioned out there. I actually pulled the scientific paper and I found the lead author, the leader of that program, the New Jersey State environmental health scientist and chief toxicologist. And I had the conversation. I said, if we have a field that we know it needs to be capped, we know that it has drainage issues, and we know that we want to be able to use this more than once a week, all year round, as long as there's no snow on the ground, for hours a night, every day of the week. is artificial turf in its current modern forms a healthy and protected solution for our particular problem that we face here? And his answer to me was yes. But even more so, he said that they were publishing an updated version of that 2023 study, which he actually reached back out to me at the beginning of this year in 2026. And they reiterated their findings and said that, yeah, modern fields are safe for that. Now, the interesting thing is that one of the vendors that we engaged, and we've brought this up here before, is to be able to sell professional soccer fields. In Europe, because of the stringent environmental health laws there, they're not even allowed to use the rubber infill, right? So if you actually read through the studies that are out there, the risks that get spoken about are about the rubber infill, right? Yeah, if you take recycled tires and you eat it, it's not healthy. Nobody will ever challenge that. That's not how you manufacture modern artificial turf fields anymore. It's not even a consideration. What they do is they actually layer the strands. It doesn't even bleed out. Question number 3, are there other considerations and benefits for Teaneck? 100% yes. We know that we have flooding that needs to be mitigated in Voti Park, whether it's through this project, whether it would be through a different project using a different solution. This will also revitalize underutilized parkland and meet the critical need for increased field capacity to support the safe, all-weather, year-round, multi-sport use. Football, soccer, baseball, softball, ages little kids all the way up to senior softball leagues. It will bring people into town. We know that leagues want to be able to run tournaments. They can't do it today. They do not have the field capacity. They know that they want to know that if it rains, they can host a game here and they don't have to go to one of our towns. They need to be able to do that. They also want to know that they can have pride, not only in Teaneck, but when they have their other teams, their friends, their family come and visit and see them play, they can have the best sport. They can have the best baseball, football, and soccer fields in Bergen County. And I believe that together we can make that happen. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Oh, sorry. Just wanted to know what the status is of an engineering report on the drainage.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The status was on the engineering report with the drainage for Voti Park for this project.
I can check with Farah and get back to you. I don't have a final.
Go ahead. I was going to ask Scott one question.
Sure.
Scott, so this was the referendum for most. I think I'd asked you recently. Can you clarify what the rules are for most about using for one project? We've never done that before, so I'm just not clear how it is in a referendum. Sorry.
Let me pull up the language real quick and come back to that and answer that question. If anyone else has any questions, get up.
I'll be quick. I love seeing our student athletes here tonight because I used to wear that same exact uniform back in the 1990s. You guys are always going to have my vote. You're going to always have my support. As always, anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out. Karen, I know you've been attending more meetings than I have, but I always keep track of the minutes and the emails. But thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for everything that the board members are doing. And I am so very happy that we created this field advisory board because it's going to help so many fields in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to also say that I'm so glad to see the athletes out tonight. I welcome you to come to all our council meetings because it's so much to learn about our township and particularly our parks and recreation programs do play such a vital role in the development of our community, our township in general. So I do support means by which we can find viable ways in which we can build out our fields and make this a destination for that all our families and our young people can be proud of. Thank you.
Did you guys beat Emerson on Saturday? Yay. Saturday, Mr. Berliner and I walked over to the opening day of Teaneck Southern, and we saw from, I don't know, 2 feet high up until leaving for high school, coming out onto the field, the newly done field. It looks brand new. And it was really so nice to see them. They fell down with their white pants and they didn't get dirty. And then we walked over to Hawthorne where you guys were practicing, and not so nice. So I would love if the township has the money and if we can find out if we can use all of that most money, Scott, if we need 5 votes or more, would love to build you a new 90-foot field. But also the one that's being proposed includes full-length football, full-length soccer, softball, and
Lacrosse.
half-court soccers, right? Did I get everything?
No, full football, full soccer, baseball can be lined for softball. And again, there's going to be
Small.
half soccer as well.
Yeah, so that's a lot of youth in Teaneck that would be able to play at the same time, rain or shine, no matter what is going on there. If the money is just sitting in the bank and we don't have viable land to purchase, I'm all in favor of that. To be clear, the turf that we would be using is the turf that doesn't have the infill, the little brown dots that everybody brings home on their shoes. It would not have that. This is the turf that they use in Europe now. I would not be in favor of using it unless we find out that it is safe, but Bogota just built, for anybody who drives into Hackensack through Bogota, they just built the most magnificent field there. I would be open to maybe the Field Advisory Board can reach out to Bogota's advisory board and just make sure that they were clear on the studies. I'm sure they don't want to hurt their children either. But, you know, I really hope we can do this for you guys. It only takes a couple of months to put the field in once the funds are allocated. So we could have this as soon as next year.
Okay. Councilman G, anything? You don't have, Councilman Katz?
Just, I too like seeing the sports organizations here and welcome you to come back anytime, preferably nights that have air conditioning. But I do want to say that we went through this process when we got the first turf field, and I heard all the pros and the cons and all the people who are against it and all the boogeyman stories of what's going to happen. And I will tell you that it's really a jewel of Teaneck to have that field, and it's become a safety jewel where people don't have to twist their ankles in uneven fields. It's become a community jewel where people come together of all walks of life and play on those fields. So I'm very supportive of it. I've heard the pros, I've heard the cons, and I've seen the proof. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
Sorry. I also wanted to say thank you for all pulling this together. I think it was really well done and well presented. I also am very much in support of this initiative. I do want to, you know, see what other projects are in the pipeline that we're, you know, looking forward to having some of those the most funding. I often talk about Argonne Park needing a little bit more love, and so would like to just see those things. But I do want to get this done as well for you all.
Thank you very much. There's in the packet, there's a list of the parks, although the work that we're doing at Argonne as well. So if we can please get your answers, if we could please have this listed as the next steps on to the next council meeting so we don't lose any more time, because these guys are here and maybe some of them, although they all look like they're 30, it would be great to play on these fields before they graduate high school. 25. And so thank you very much for putting together. Also, before we move on, I just want to say that list of the park work that were done. I wanted to actually, first of all, thank Deputy Mayor Organ and Councilman Pagan several years ago before this council. We walked those parks and we talked about all the things we want to see. And it's good to see this coming years later. That's all coming to fruition. So thank you very much, guys. We'll turn the air on as soon as you leave. And thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the ribbon cutting. Thank you very much. And now we'll go on to our work session meetings. We're going to continue the meeting. You can do the awkward walk out if whenever you want. Miscellaneous. Old business. New business. Communications. Councilman Goldberg on bonds. If this doesn't get people to leave, talking about bonds will absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I spent a significant amount of time reviewing the municipal audits, which is how I came across Ordinance 16-2016. So I want to thank Councilman Sloan and Councilman Castle for being the ones to actually push for this ordinance originally. So they had set aside $645,000 entirely from two cash pools. So it was the Capital Improvement Fund and the Municipal Space Open Trust. I actually believe it was the same time that the Pottyplex was being voted on. So the current, according to the audits, the remaining balance in that is $531,000. And that $531,000 is exclusively for the ADA playground at Votee Park, and it's in cash. So when I saw that in this year's capital ordinance, I'd asked about it to the CFO and the auditor, and I had a conversation. So I did request this last meeting about using those funds in cash instead of bonding it. And instead of forcing our residents to pay $1.2 million in debt plus interest, what's on later on tonight, referenced in this correspondence and up for introduction, uses the cash that we already have for its intended purpose, the ADA playground. We are then slashing our borrowing down to $719,000, plus what, a 3% interest. That's a conservative amount. We've seen as high as 5.1% on some of our notes. So we're taking a huge risk on our taxpayer dollars, and I believe that they care more about whether or not their taxes go up more than any strings. So I wanted to kind of just read this into the record formally, because in May of 2025, I had asked the auditor what these funds were, and he said, and I quote, here, and this went to the full council, here's a quick recap on my thoughts. The total project is $1.5 million, and the funding would come from $530,000 from the reappropriation of Ordinance 16-2016, amount to be canceled and uses funding for the new ordinance, $750,000 in grants, and the $220,000 in authorized debt using 0% Green Acres funding if possible. So I wanted to put that in communications for everyone to see, and I do think that we have a fiduciary responsibility to protect our taxpayers from unnecessary debt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess that'll be discussed later when we get to the ordinance, and we can pull that and discuss that then. On to committee reports by council liaisons. Anybody on their committee reports? Okay. On to council listed items. Deputy Mayor Belcher, as it relates to the Sloan Cabin Historical Marker, please.
Yes, I have, yeah, I think I'm on. Yeah, so I just want to say that I asked that this be listed because since we passed, we voted on this back in February 24th, some additional information has come forward, and I just think that it's noteworthy, and it's very important that we address it. Why? Because history does not forget things on its own. It's made to forget. And tonight we have a choice whether we will allow that forgetting to continue or whether we will correct it. Now that we know more, we do more. This is not about simply a marker. It is about power, the power to decide whose contributions are seen and whose are left out. The story of the Sloan Cabin is not easy. It has a very complicated history. It's rooted in the lives of enslaved African Americans. It carries the weight of truth, the kind of truth that demands completeness. It demands completeness, but it's not comfortable to talk about. But let's be clear, this history does not resurface by accident. It was brought forward through the work connected to the Northeast Teaneck Block Presidents Association. And without their work, this story remains buried. And we now know without question that there is no ordinance, there is no policy, there is no rule that prevents us from recognizing their contribution. So if we choose to exclude them, it's not because we must, it's because we're choosing to. An omission when the truth is known is not oversight, it's erasure. And we do not want to erase anyone's history in Teaneck. We cannot stand here and say we value history while editing the very people who made that history visible. We cannot claim integrity while withholding acknowledgement where it's due. And we cannot speak of community while silencing the very community that we live in. So today, tonight, what we have to do is, as leadership requires, is not what's easy, but what is right. Because truth, fully true, told, is the only history worthy of us really remembering. So that being said, I move that we amend the Sloan Cabin marker to include the Northeast Teaneck Block Association, along with the names of its 4 officers in recognition of their essential role in uncovering and advancing this history.
Second.
Councilman Goldberg?
Can I ask a question? I don't recall hearing anything about an ordinance like pushing for that? Like, or sorry, an ordinance not allowing this? So I'm just curious if there was some other conversation that, when we discussed this last time, I don't remember hearing that there was an ordinance not allowing this or resolution or anything like that. I'm just trying to understand where that's coming from.
We actually voted 7-0, right? It was 7-0 against it. It was unanimous against it.
Right, no, that I remember, but I'm asking, there was something about a potential ordinance blocking this, and I was just not sure where that came from.
No, Councilwoman Goldberg, the intent of this motion is to undo what we did on February 24th. This is the intent.
Else? Councilman, Deputy Mayor?
I do. I have something.
Sure.
Because I spent a lot of time working on this with Ms. Duncan. So I just want to read something. When we first took leadership office this term, the first group we reached out to was the Northeast Block Presidents Association. Ms. Duncan was there and Mr. Addison was there. We met in the manager's office, listened to their agenda and concerns, agreed on some things, and agreed to disagree on others. It was a respectful meeting. The week before the Holocaust Memorial was approved, the mayor and I scheduled a meeting with Dr. Lacey, Ms. Duncan, and Dr. Pruitt at Dr. Pruitt's house. We discussed the delays in moving the enslaved African memorial forward. We encouraged them to form a new committee that would be more productive. We gave suggestions, and we offered to help fundraise. A little over a month ago, that group came to us. Now incorporated, they are Teanac's African American Culture and Historic Preservation Committee. Ms. Duncan saw how happy I was for them, and I offered my support. After our February council meeting, Ms. Duncan reached out to me. We texted back and forth, each explaining our thoughts about the Block Association being included in the marker. We had 3 long phone conversations between then and March 29th. And here is how I explained my feelings to her. Tinette, I appreciate all of your work on this, and I'm so happy the story will be told for eternity, which is the purpose of the marker. I am firm in my decision. By approving for one, it would set a precedent to approve for all, even organizations whose goals and purposes you would disagree with. And I'm not willing to introduce that slippery slope. There is nothing racial in my decision, and I hope it is not construed as such. Again, I look forward to celebrating all of your work at the unveiling and publicly going forward. Best, Karen. A little bit farther down our texts, I got back. Hi, Karen. I want to offer you a compromising request. You are opposed to block associations and political groups being listed on township markers, so I offer the following. You are supportive of the African American Cultural and Historic Preservation Committee, and you guys really need an acronym for that because it's really long, which I am chair. It is not a block association or political group. It makes perfect sense to list this organization on the marker. This shows your support for an org of our community, TAAC and HPC. As I am chair of this org and conducted the research, I will compromise with listing its name on the marker. Its mission is similarly situated to the Teaneck Historic Society, and its name is listed on the H&H marker. We held 3 long phone conversations. From the start, I offered to support Tinette's name on any plaque, as admittedly she did all the research on her own. I asked her to consider serving on the Historic Preservation Commission, as this is something she is passionate about. I ended our last conversation by telling her, while I was excited for Teaneck's African American Cultural and Historic Preservation Committee to succeed, I wasn't okay adding an organization to a plaque that had yet to do anything at that time. I felt our conversations were respectful. It should always be okay to respectfully disagree. My feeling has always been that political groups don't belong on township-sponsored plaques. I would not support One Town, One Vote, or BC Jack, or any one of the block associations that have formed in town. Yes, the Historical Society is on the hospital plaque, but when is the last time they sent a scathing email? And yes, the Black Lives Matter group is mentioned on the marker by the parking lot, but that is their sole focus, and I was in favor of that. Exactly one day after our last conversation, we received an email from the Northeast Teaneck Presidents Block Association showing that they are indeed a political organization. It contained accusations of racism and discrimination and of double standards. The words are unkind and they are false. No one sitting in these seats should ever be forced to make a decision they don't believe in under the threat of being called a racist. A council majority is roughly defined as any time 4 members of council vote for or against something, 5 if bonding. 5 members of this council have tried hard to work together since the 2025 reorg. Sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't. That is the current majority. It is diverse and mostly respectful. In this case, I disagree with the majority, but name-calling and false accusations are beneath you. Dr. Norris and the Historic Preservation Commission are in an ever-increasing difficult position as more and more organizations want their names listed on markers. If you look at page 20 of the agenda, the Argonne Park Historic Marker has just history on it. Going forward, I think that should be our standard. These markers speak of a time in our history when none of us on council or advisory boards were present, and my strong opinion is that they tell our history without mentioning others. We should work with the Historic Preservation Commission on process. How many markers will be approved each year, like the street namings? Where will funding come from? And who will have the final approval? So that's what I'd like that put into the record. I'll send it to you, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to jump. I'll make my comments quick, and then we're going to get nodding heads, and then we're going to move this forward. I'm in favor of this. I'm in favor of this because new information came to light. We originally all voted against it. We got some new information. I look forward to moving this forward. But I'm going to echo my original hesitation was that no names should be on there. We've now seen the names are on other plaques, and we'll move that forward. I will say, like Deputy Mayor Organ, I was very disheartened for the emails and the comments I was getting. We went from talking about a plaque to talking about the master plan to Israel, to quote Margot Fisher, that it shows they only care about one community. We're talking about a plaque, and the emails we got were absolutely disgusting. This is not the way many of us in this room, on the dais, off the dais, have worked together. And when new information came to light, we worked together, we worked through it, not with accusations that were mentioned there. So with that, I believe we have nodding heads to move this forward. Do we have nodding heads?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Deputy Mayor Organ for her words. I really wanted to thank her.
Thank you very much.
I just want to, first of all, I just want to acknowledge, and for the record, the Northeast Teaneck Block Presidents Association is not I would not consider them a political organization. They represent their residents who live in that area. They host debates, and they are very, every year they host these debates, and they are apolitical. They do it independently. I think we all have moments where we have heated discussions, and we don't all feel the need to come up here and read those emails out loud or air out, these sorts of things. So I don't know, that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but I just wanted to say, shout out the Northeast Teaneck Block Presidents Association. I think you're doing a great job representing your community. I know we have often felt left out, not necessarily by this council, but in the past and historically. And so they do a really good job of standing up and raising voices that are often unheard. And I think that's their role in the community. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much. The email I read out loud was from a person that does not live in Teaneck anymore and never lived in the Northeast either. She lived around the corner from me and had no problem calling that out. We have our 4 nodding heads. We're good. And
We have a motion.
we have a motion. Yeah. So we'll work on that motion. If there's a resolution needed, if it's not needed, then we're good to go.
If council's cool, we're good to go.
We're good to go.
We're good to go.
Okay. Proposed resolution recognizing April 29th as End Jewish Hatred Day and month of May as End Jewish Hate and Jewish Heritage Month. Councilman Goldberg, please say that better than I just did.
Sorry, what?
I said.
Oh, I just wanted to, I'll read this really quickly into the record, and then I'll make the motion to move it. Recognizing April 29th as End Jew Hatred Day and the month of May as Jewish Heritage Month and End Jewish Hatred Month. Whereas there's a documented and dangerous rise in anti-Semitism globally, nationally, in New Jersey, Bergen County, and in Teaneck, including a 200% increase in anti-Semitic incidents in the United States since October 7, 2023, according to Anti-Defamation League. Whereas anti-Semitism is not limited to physical acts, but includes rhetoric, social behavior, academic norms, political speech, social media content that perpetuates dehumanization, conspiracy theories, and discrimination against Jews. Whereas anti-Semitism is defined as a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews, including rhetorical and physical manifestations directed at Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, Jewish community institutions, and religious facilities. Whereas one cannot tackle hate without defining it. Whereas Teaneck's Jewish community is diverse and their beliefs and traditions and is comprised of individuals of all denominations and backgrounds, including Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, and secular Jews, reminding us that Jewish identity is not defined by one's level of observance or affiliation, but by an unbroken peoplehood that transcends labels and unites generations. Whereas anti-Semitic expressions may include justifying violence against Jews, promoting the myth of Jewish control over the media or government, denying the Holocaust, questioning Jewish loyalty to their country, or holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the State of Israel. Whereas data published by the ADL Center for Anti-Semitism Research in February 2024 shows that the average number of anti-Jewish tropes believed by Americans has increased, with nearly 1 in 4 Americans now agreeing with 6 or more classic anti-Semitic beliefs and conspiracy theories. Social dominance and simplistic oppressor versus oppressed worldviews are strongly correlated with anti-Semitic attitudes. Whereas the ADL reports that TNEC itself has experienced at least 20 documented anti-Semitic incidences in 2024, including assaults on Jewish school security guard, mezuzahs repeatedly stolen from Jewish homes, restaurants defaced for displaying flyers about Israeli hostages, death threats on social media, targeting Jewish students with Holocaust imagery, death threats to Jewish council members with Holocaust imagery, swastikas etched into private property. And whereas these incidents represent a pattern, not isolated event, and they impact Jewish residents' sense of safety, belonging, and equal participation in community life. Whereas the Township of Teaneck supports every resident's right to worship freely, walk safely, and live with dignity, regardless of religion, race, or ethnicity. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck hereby recognize for the 4th year in a row, I believe, that April 29th is End Jew Hatred Day, and declares that the month of May is Jewish Heritage Month. Be it further resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck unequivocally rejects all forms of anti-Semitism. Be it further resolved that the Teaneck Township Council pledges to work with houses of worship, the Teaneck Public Library, and the Teaneck Board of Education to develop significant sustained programming to educate residents about the historic and modern forms of anti-Semitism, to actively combat its spread through civic education, cultural dialogue, and policy awareness. And I would like to make a motion to move this to the consent agenda for tonight, please.
Second.
Thank you.
Consent for it? We got 4. We got it. Okay. Onwards to a township manager.
Mark, I apologize. Mayor Schwartz, I apologize. There was a motion on the floor for those markers before. We should take a roll call on
Let's
that
do
motion.
roll.
And we'll do it for Hillary's as well.
Excellent.
Councilwoman
Roll
Goldberg
call
as
it
well.
all, both, please.
There was a first from Deputy Mayor Belcher, and it was a second from Councilwoman G. This was on the markers. Councilwoman Goldberg,
No.
Councilman Pagan,
Yes.
Councilwoman G,
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
No.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Approved. And then we had Councilwoman Goldberg's resolution, which will be 177-2026 this evening. I believe there was a motion from you, Councilwoman. Was there a second?
Thanks.
Second.
Mirelli, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. Ellie,
Mayor
Ellie,
Pagan,
Ellie.
you can have it. No.
I'll take it. Second. Next.
Okay, don't all-
Air conditioning for this.
Councilwoman,
Yes.
Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes. Township managers report. Air conditioning.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Township residents. Our upcoming townwide cleanup day is scheduled for Sunday, April 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Sign up is still ongoing this week, and additional details are posted for convenience. Don't forget, our townwide garage sale is also scheduled for this upcoming weekend, April 18th and 19th. Anyone interested can sign up on our website or using the QR code on the flyer. List of participating addresses will be posted on Friday afternoon. If you missed our recent shredding event this past weekend, the BCUA is offering a mobile shredding event on April 26th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. They will collect electronics, computers, unwanted medications, and tires. That'll take place at Bergen Community College. Friendly reminder that potholes can still be reported directly through our SDL portal, available by link, QR code, or by clicking the yellow bar at the top of our homepage. Don't forget that registration is now open for the Teaneck Community Pool. The Garden Club will be hosting their annual plant sale from May 1st to May 3rd and on May 8th through May 10th. Come support these efforts as they continue to raise funds for a new greenhouse with the support of the township. Holy Name Medical Center will be hosting a File of Life event at Township Hall parking lot on Tuesday, April 21st from 11:30 to 1 p.m. Residents are welcome to visit their mobile education lab to learn about the File for Life card and receive a card and magnet. No registration is required. The Friends of the Teaneck Public Library are hosting a book sale in May. Donation of books are being accepted starting May 6th through May 10th. Members only sale is May 14th, and the general public is from May 15th through May 17th. Please refer to the flyer on our website for additional details. Our 2025 road resurfacing project list of streets is now posted on our website on our projects page that is located right on the front page of our website. It is important to note that some of the alternate roads may not be completed due to the rise in cost in asphalt costs. Friendly reminder that our Teaneck Farmers Market is returning for its 30th year starting on May 7th from 12 to 6 p.m. at Garrison and Beverly, and you can stop by on Thursdays until the fall. All are welcome. Argonne Park Tennis Court is closed this week for some minor repairs. I will send a notification once it's reopened. Some grant updates I have for you. We have secured a little over $1 million in funding for a major Queen Anne Road improvement project aimed at enhancing safety, accessibility, and overall roadway conditions. Enhancements will include, but not limited to, drainage improvements, installation of new sidewalks and detectable warning surfaces, upgrading curbing, and refreshed traffic markings. A press release has been posted on our website, so you can review that for additional details. Our application for the LEAP grant with Englewood and Hackensack to further explore fire services was successfully submitted today. We are preparing our annual grant application for the New Jersey Division of Highway Safety Click It or Ticket Mobilization Program. An application for the AARP Community Challenger Grant Program will be submitted for hearing loop technology right here in council chambers. Lastly, we have an application for SNY Play Ball for Teaneck Southern Little League, which we will be submitting for game tickets and new baseballs and softballs. For some project updates, our 2024 road resurfacing project has resumed, and we are looking to complete that no later than May of 2026. The Terhune Park Safety Service contract will be on site this month to make the final safety surface replacement, and the park will be finally reopened. The Bell Avenue bioswales are finally constructed, and the railings and plantings will take place this week. The Brooks Park Exercise Station, the contractor will address the asphalt walkways this week. And the restrooms, we had a pre-construction meeting, which was held last week. Utility work is in progress, and the prefab building is scheduled for arrival in 90 days. The Sagamore Park improvements, Green Acres approval has been received, and the plans are being reviewed for next steps. The Phelps Park splash pad, the equipment was installed last week. The contractor will work on installation of the fence and walkways this week to prepare for inspections. Bilton Street, Livingston Place, and Clinton Place improvements, the bids were opened on April 7th, and the apparent lowest bidder is DLS Contracting with a total bid of $170,000. The award of contract is pending. Griggs, Van Buren, and Herrick Avenue improvements, the pre-construction meeting was held last week, and construction is scheduled to begin the first week of May. Palisade Ave, West Tryon, and Galway Place improvements were completed last week. And before I jump into a short recap of our 2026 municipal budget before introduction this evening, I would like to recognize National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. We proudly recognize and thank our dedicated dispatchers, the unseen first responders who serve as the critical link between our community and emergency services. Their calm voices and quick thinking offer us the reassurance we need in times of crisis. This week, we take this moment to say thank you for their dedication to the Teaneck community. Now, I would like to show you a few slides to update you on our 2026 municipal budget and how we have reached a revised annual tax rate of 6.99%. Next slide.
One question on the playground. The Green Acres grant, was that included the additional funds that we requested, or was that the original 750? I know that we did the extra application. For the Sagamore, didn't we do an extra application, or was I thinking of a different? You said it was approved.
It was approved.
So the extra funding was approved.
Correct.
Thank you.
This, if you could refer to the PowerPoint, this slide represents our 2026 municipal budget update following my recent presentation of the budget. Adjustments totaling $1,875,000 were made from utilizing additional revenues and a reduction in other appropriations. As a result, the tax rate increase has been reduced from 9.78% to 6.99%. The 2026 budget maintains all township services. Next slide. Here are the final adjustments made to the 2026 budget to find us arriving at a tax rate increase of 6.99%. The adjustments came from increased revenue realization and some revisions to appropriations, mainly the capital improvement line item, which assists us in placing a down payment on our capital budget. Next slide. Some takeaways from our budget introduction are as follows. A hiring freeze remains in place unless we are replacing vacant positions due to resignations or retirements. The 2026 municipal tax on an average home valued at $628,279.79 will see an increase of $347.25 from 2025 or $28.94 per month. The township's 2022 sewer billing remains on track for completion before May 1st, 2026. The 2023 sewer billing is anticipated for a Q3 completion date. That is all I have for you tonight, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll continue along. I know we have more budget talks later. And with that, we'll go to the clerk for our public hearing on submission of a 2026 Bergen County Trust Fund grant application for Mackle Park improvements, which is resolution 167 of 26. Mr. Clerk, you'll read it into the record and I'll call for an open hearing.
Yes, so this is for, as our mayor said on the consent agenda this evening, resolution 167-2026. And there are some supplements from our township engineer and grant writers in the agenda for anyone who reviewed them. This is a public hearing strictly for this resolution and this grant application. If anyone is interested in speaking about it, now's the time.
Is there anyone in the public for this hearing, or is, do I hear anyone? Is anyone Zoom, Mr. Clerk? This hearing is now closed.
We can
Next,
vote on it in the
we'll vote the
consent agenda.
consent agenda. Next, we'll have a public hearing and adoption of ordinances. With that, Mr. Clerk, if you could please read some very exciting ordinances into record. That was sarcasm.
We got a few things tonight. Friends, Ordinance 19-2026, amending Section 36-11.2 of Chapter 36 of Township Code for Township of Teaneck, adding restricted on-street parking space for handicap at 206 Lees Avenue. Ordinance number 20-2026, amending the Township Code for the Township of Teaneck to reduce the fees charged for lead-based paint inspections. We have ordinance number 21-2026, revising the Township Code as to commercial and movie filming. Ordinance number 23-2026, last but not least, amending the Township Code to revise no parking restrictions on Galway Place.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Would anyone like to speak on any of these hearings?
Just these ordinances.
And just the ordinance. Anyone on Zoom, sir?
No, sir.
This hearing is now closed. I'll start with making a motion. Anyone in council want to speak? I'll go with the motion. Ordinance to approve ordinances 19, 20, 21, and 23 of 26. Second, Councilman Pagan. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Goldberg.
Yes on all except for 21. No on 21.
Councilman Pagan.
Yes to all.
Councilwoman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yes, but did the mayor say there was a 26 also, or did you say 19, 20?
23 of 26, sorry.
23.
Of 26.
Got it. Then yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes to all.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes to all.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes to all. Thank you very much. And now, for the time everyone's been waiting for, the meeting is now open to public good and welfare. For the public for good and welfare, you have 3 minutes to speak on anything your heart desires. We'll start with people in this room, and then from after that, we'll go to Zoom. Sir, please come up, state your name and your position. Anybody else would like to speak after him? We'll go after him. Mine? We'll go here, then we'll go. Name?
Hello, my name is Sebastian Ratura, and I'm part of the Teaneck baseball program. I just wanted to state a few words of why it's important for us to have a turf field. Give me 1 second. First, I wanted to state that turf fields in baseball are very beneficial because they provide a consistent and reliable playing surface no matter the weather condition. So we could play no matter if it's raining, and it doesn't take as much time for people that volunteer to clean the field. Unlike natural grass, like turf does not get muddy or uneven, which helps reduce bad hops and allows players to perform at their best. My baseball team and I have a joke where we call it like a Hawthorne hop. We're literally just fielding a routine ball, and it just takes a bad hop and can hurt us. So yeah. Also, also requires less maintenance, saving time and money for schools and teams. And in conditions for games, we can play more often since turf fields do not get damaged easily, making them a practical and efficient choice for the baseball program. So it would be very important for we could all play at our best and we don't have to worry about getting hurt, which is very important for our well-being. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am? Hilda, you'll go next.
Hi, my name is Dorianne Rivera, and I am a resident of Teaneck. I live on Maple Ave. Good evening. I am here to raise a serious public health and safety concern affecting my property and potentially my surrounding neighbor's property as well. Since my neighbor installed a chicken coop, I have observed a significant amount of rats on my property and my neighbor's property and 2 properties next to me. They are moving all around. These are not field mice. These are full-blown rats running all up and down my backyard. I have cut down 3 trees now. I'm sick to my stomach over this. I've already called the health department, sent emails. I have lots of proof. Did everything that I feel like I was supposed to be doing. There's documented health risks with these rats running around. I have also had to hire an exterminator at my own cost, which I don't have the money for. Neighbors surrounding me also have hired exterminators. And it seems that the coop is the issue. And unfortunately, this property is already dirty. And I know they've had already multiple visits to their property. I hear them cleaning up. So when I spoke to the health department the next day, hey, the property looks good. This is really affecting me. My kids cannot go outside. I have 2 young children. And there's poison everywhere. And we can't enjoy our property. And I spent a lot of money on taxes. I should be able to hang out outside. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We'll address that afterwards. Hildy? And then, ma'am, you go next afterwards.
Good evening, council. I want to thank our town manager and the DPW for helping us set up our first 2026 litter cleanup in Teaneck this Sunday from 11 to 1, and I hope that we'll see all of you there. We're hoping for a good day, and we have a little drizzle in the forecast, but we've powered through a drizzle before. I don't think we're going to get a downpour and have to think about canceling it. Right now, we have, I think, 49 individuals registered for the cleanup, which is good. I am here, though, however, and I noticed that our Teaneck baseball athletes left, and I want to commend them for making their case. I really understand the problem of fields. My son, who's 33 now, played Teaneck baseball from T-ball way in his senior year of high school. My husband coached. We played soccer on the Voti fields and other fields in Hawthorne, and I know the pain of grass fields. However, you have an environmental commission in Teaneck, and it is our responsibility to consider the health, the environmental, potential environmental hazards that might impact the health of our residents. The Environmental Commission in December agreed, we had a vote, and we agreed that we would present an ordinance to the Teaneck Council and to the Field Advisory Board and PP, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, that we wanted to prohibit further use of artificial turf on Teaneck athletic fields. We presented this to the PPRAB on January 7th and to the Field Advisory Board during an online meeting on February 19th. We understand that the plan is to use the most current form of artificial turf, which indeed is much less toxic than the original forms. However, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection report that Mr. Berliner referred to, if you thoroughly read that report, it is in no way a ringing endorsement of artificial turf, the most modern types, for children's sports fields. We understand that there's a lot of support for the field, and we understand why. We understand the pain of the maintenance of green grass fields. The Teaneck Environmental Commission has been in touch with the Department of Environmental Medicine at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, and we would like to have their fair share to present to this council. Deputy Mayor Organ said that she wants to make sure that it's safe. I think you need to hear the current research and read that report thoroughly from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection.
Thank you very much.
Because it is in no way a slamming endorsement of the newer types of fields.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am? Next.
Good evening. My name is Amy Bullock. I am the first Vice President and Political Action Chair of the Bergen County NAACP. And I'm here tonight to speak on the Sloan cabin markers and the Northeast Teaneck Block Association. So the Sankofa bird is an Ndinkra symbol from the Akan people of Ghana that depicts a bird moving forward while looking backward, often with an egg in its mouth. It symbolizes the importance of learning from the past to build a better future. Identifying, acknowledging, and recognizing African American history is critical to ensuring that American history is preserved in an honest, equitable, and transparent manner. In a climate where we see significant increases in efforts to dismiss, negate, discredit, and even erase the 400+ years of historical events, such as the enslavement of African Americans and the crimes against humanity that occurred during said enslavement in this country, we must continue to ensure that history remains at the forefront of current discussions to ensure it does not repeat itself. Teaneck is hallowed ground. Tonight, we all stand on the blood, sweat, tears, and shoulders of those who were enslaved on this land. Due to the efforts of the Northeast Teaneck Block Association and its officers, current and future generations will know this truth. The Northeast Teaneck Block Association and its officers serve as exemplary examples of what good citizenship looks like, and the Bergen County NAACP supports their inclusion on the Sloan cabin markers. These markers not only serve to acknowledge the history, but the efforts of those who work to preserve it. The Northeast Teaneck Block Association and its work in the Teaneck community serve as motivation for others to be good stewards of history and civic engagement. Truth and transparency are critical to progress and ensuring history does not repeat itself. I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor Belcher and Council Members G, Katz, and Pagan for speaking with me regarding this matter. The Bergen County NAACP extends our appreciation to Mayor Schwartz, Deputy Mayor Belcher, Council Members G, Katz, and Pagan for supporting this and recognizing the efforts of the Northeast Teaneck Block Association and its officers in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul, you're next.
Good evening. I'm wearing two hats tonight. Gloria Wilson. I'm wearing one as a resident of Teaneck for 42 years, and I'm also wearing a hat as the president for the Northeast Teaneck Block Association. I'm not going to repeat that was already said regarding how a no vote was viewed as discrimination. What I will repeat is that the Northeast Teaneck Block President Association is not a political organization. And I'd like to thank Councilwoman G, for reiterating that again. It represents all residents of the Northeast section of Teaneck. I'd like to read our mission statement to you. The purpose of the Northeast Teaneck Block President Association is to ensure greater participation of block associations under one umbrella in order to enhance and maintain a strong, viable, and inclusive community. The organization is committed to make sure that our community fully participates in the decision-making opportunities that impact the residents of Teaneck. I also want to say that each and every one of you that are up on that dais have attended the forums that the Northeast Teaneck Block President Association has given. We have never sponsored or said or chose anybody individual political. Each one in our organization and each one in the community has a right to vote for who they want. We will continue to have our forums for anyone that reads within the council, the Board of Ed, or whatever. I just want to make this very clear. And please remember, we are not a political organization. Whoever feels that way, they're feeling that way on their own. I thank you for hearing me. Oh, before I stop, I have not had the opportunity to thank our township manager because I had been sick for a while, but I want to say thank you very much for all the time that you put in, the timely manners that you get back to our group, the Northeast Teaneck Block Association. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much, Wilson. Tonette, and then Paula, you'll go next after Tonette. Sure, Paula.
Before I address the council, I'd like to say, on behalf of NEPA, Deputy Mayor Belcher, thank you for explaining your vote on the 24th of February, and thank you for putting it on the agenda for tonight and setting the record straight. Your decision reflects true leadership, and I thank you, and we thank you from NEPA. To the council, including NEPA's name and its officers on the library markers ensures equal recognition, which is consistent with established precedents. Excluding NEPA could risk presenting an incomplete account of how the history of the library was revealed and overlooks its connection to the enslaved people who lived in the cabin, which happens to be on the Northeast section of Teaneck. NEPA is not a political group, as incorrectly classified by the council. It is a community organization. I can keep going? Okay, thank you. Let's see, where was that? All right, discrimination can take different forms, including decisions, resolutions, and ordinance that may unintentionally or intentionally elevate one community, diminishing the importance for inclusion and contributions of other communities. As officials, you have the opportunity to promote equality and justice for all communities, not just one. Teaneck leadership has always supported all communities by drafting resolutions that were inclusive for all concerned and all communities. It did not contain language that was of concern for only one community. Council is urged to return to inclusive governing practices. The phrase Teaneck Paradise Lost does not describe our town, and council should not promote that it does. In closing, I encourage you to consider these points when voting. So obviously you did, and thank you to the 5 people who voted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paula? Councilman Rice will go next.
Paula Rogovan. I had written a letter to all of you, so and you've already taken your vote, but so I'll just read a little bit of what I wrote. The Teaneck government must never be part of the attempt to erase history or to dishonor those who helped lead the struggles to end slavery, to vote for voting, to fight for voting rights, to fight for labor rights, for women's rights, and for democracy. I want to thank the Northeast Teaneck President's Block Association for lifting up the issues around the slave cabin. How many of us who have lived in Teaneck for decades even knew this history? The vote tonight was very important, but in addition, I would like to call on you to work with the Northeast President's Block Association and the Teaneck Library to provide educational material about this history to all Teaneck residents. On another subject, I'd like to caution anybody who refers to our concerns about AstroTurf as boogeyman stories. I offer to invite a top scientist from Rutgers, microplastic scientist, to be part of any kind of a presentation about microplastics and the dangers of AstroTurf. There was a train derailment today in North Bergen. Some people poo-pooed this. It's not our problem here in Teaneck. However, these are the same trains that go through Teaneck. This is the CSX train. There were either 6 or 13. I've got different numbers for how many trains actually derailed. They were carrying ethyl acetate, which is a dangerous material when it is not diluted. That's why they poured so much water on this derailment to prevent it from harming people's health, harming people's lives. This was a highly, highly populated area, and it's very worrisome. Now, the reason it's also a concern to many of us here is the Crossroads Plan calls for taking floodwaters and increasingly frequent floods into the pipes and then sending them down American Legion Drive into the swale or drain over by KIPP or the community charter school on Terhune. It is a known fact that there are derailments all over the country with harm to workers from destabilization of train tracks by flooding. This is a very, very dangerous situation.
Thank you.
I urge you to take steps to not approve the Crossroads Plan.
Thank you. Councilman Rice. Anybody else after her? Okay. Mr. Addison, after you.
Good evening, Council. And again, I want to thank Denise. I think it's already been mentioned, but thank you so much for bringing the resolution tonight, Deputy Mayor, so that we could rectify the situation. And thank you, Councilwoman Danielle G., for seconding it, and for the Mayor, Ellie, Michael Pagan, also for all of you supporting this. I think it was very important. And the no votes speak volumes to our community. And, you know, despite the fact that, Mayor, you mentioned that it seemed to be a minute detail, that it was just a plaque. But therein lies part of the challenge. And that's why we so often need to seek to understand rather than just to be understood. To you, it may just have seemed to be a simple plaque. But to us, the denial seemed to be erasure of our history that happened right here in Teaneck. As Paula so eloquently said, many of us who didn't even know that it existed. And I think it's so important, you know, during this time that we always celebrate in our township the celebration and commemoration of Black history, Spanish history, Jewish history, as we are in May, Muslim history, the AAPI, because that's what Teaneck is. We celebrate all. We don't minimize any of our residents, any of their ethnicity, any of their struggles. And not to play any type of oppression Olympics, but this New Jersey State police report indicates what bias crimes are currently, and why it's so important to ensure that our history is not erased is because crimes and bias incidents still exist today. So for instance, in 2024, there were 1,134 incidents of anti-Black and African-American bias crimes. There were also 677 crimes against anti-Jewish crimes. In 2025, that same New Jersey State Police report speaks to 1,122 anti-Black and African-American bias crimes. Additionally, there were also 656 anti-Jewish bias crimes. Just this year, starting from January up through the reporting of April 8th, 2026, 257 bias crimes against African-American and Blacks, as well as 136 against Jewish members of our state. So again, you cannot tackle hate without naming it, as quoted as one of you council members. So please don't try to minimize anyone else's pain or anyone else's history. Name that hate just as you name any other hate. We thank you for your support. of this plaque. While it may seem minor to you, it's monumental, and I hope that this is just the beginning of many other truths that I'm sure we'll continue to uncover in this town. I'm grateful for tonight's community relations at the helm of Paula. I hope that there'll be opportunities to continue to strengthen our community, and I don't know if that was a fire alarm, but opportunities to ensure that all groups are represented. Seeing that group there, seeing our sports teams, there's hope in our community, and thank goodness for the future of our youth because they give us hope.
Thank you very much, Mr. Addison. Anybody else like to? Councilman Sloan afterwards.
Good evening, Council Ray Addison. I'm not going to repeat what was so eloquently said earlier about the plaque. I just want to thank those who voted positively, those nodding heads. And I also would like to respect those who voted no, because that's what democracy looks like. You have your opinions for whatever reason, you presented it, and that's what we should do always, to vote democratically and vote your conscience. But thank you for the 5 nodding heads, and thank you also for those who voted no.
Thank you, Mr. Addison. Councilman Sloan and Deputy Mayor Pruitt, you'll go next. Do we have any other former council members that want to talk afterwards? We're sold out. We'll go after.
If Dr. Pruitt wished to speak, it would be my pleasure to cede my time. Alan Stone, former council member. I had an opportunity, again, I've done research for many, many years about our history, going through books, going through records, finding an article from March 26 about the library in the slave cabin in the Bergen Evening Record. I think it was March 18th, 1926, documenting the use of the slave cabin. They were fairly public about it. It's been in our histories, and I think we all owe it to ourselves as part of looking ahead, is looking back at our history and gaining a greater understanding of the history that's out there. I think we also need to look at our history of how we've used our resources, and looking ahead at those resources and what we have available and will be available. My son, this is about 25 years ago, just about 24 years ago, played on Lancers Field. I remember being a coach and having a ball hit to left field, and the kid wasn't running after it and going, "Go for it, go for it, go for it," only to find out that his foot was a foot deep in the ground, stuck in the swamp that had been left of the ball field. A ball field is necessary. But I do agree with Councilwoman G that we should be looking at other locations. Botee Park is both the logical choice, but it's also remarkably overbuilt. It has inadequate facilities. It has inadequate parking for anybody who might be visiting. We should also look back again at the Sportsplex. Again, something was necessary, but I look at the press box. I look at lighting that was specifically set up as part of a $583,000 package that included the press box. That included a setup so that softball could be played at the Sportsplex. I don't know if that has ever been done. So I think that there are opportunities to look back. I think we can look at the Pottyplex and how effectively or inefficiently that's been. I want to thank Councilwoman Goldberg for looking back at some of the money that's been set aside in the past for resources. And I think the use of money that's been set aside in the past, I look at the annual financial statement, the debt statement every year, and there are huge amounts of money that could be used in lieu of borrowing new funds. I do appreciate the effort to bring the budget down to 6.99 for this year, but what's missing is what is the impact on next year and on 28 and 29 and 30. And if you don't have that spreadsheet behind you, if you don't have that data, if you don't have data on what the impact will be of bonding in future years, the rising cost, again, it's about $6 million this year for debt service. If you're not looking at those numbers, if you're not looking at the past and you're not looking to the future, you're not going to be making good decisions. I think it's really, really critical that as a council, again, we understand our history, we understand where our resources are, we understand that we have to serve every resident of this township. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilman Sloan. Deputy Mayor.
I'll stand up. I can stand up. I'll stand up. I'm gonna try to stand up anyway.
No, just
I'm all right.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't stand. Don't. Can you hand him the mic? Yeah.
Okay,
Just-
okay, no,
Just
everybody, take heart.
I think you're running out of battery. There you go.
Okay.
Here.
I have to hold on to this. No.
Henry, stay seated.
No, I got it. Okay.
Right, hang on, let me put this back for you, man.
Okay. I want to thank the council for coming together and doing the right thing about the sign. Teaneck over time has had a lot of trouble based on race. And Teaneck over time has had a number of people who decided to fight it and get the right answers. For example, blockbusting took place in Teaneck for 20 years. But a group called the Teaneck Political Assembly and NECO, which was the prior to the NEPA, they convinced the town to take the case all the way to the Supreme Court. And they won the case and ended blockbusting. The desegregation of public schools, I think that made the national press. But what didn't make the press was when they voted and they were in the high school, there was a mob of 1,500 people who rushed the stage. Let me say that again. A mob of 1,500 people who rushed the stage in an effort to get at the board members, but the police department protected the board members and let them out the back door. Afterwards, board members had bricks thrown through their windows, and their families were threatened by people who really didn't like the change. Now, the council has made a couple of mistakes recently, and hopefully they'll rethink them. One was an insensitive resolution about the war, which led some kids at the high school to leave a walkout. Those kids' lives were threatened too. Racism is not only a terrible thing, it's a dangerous thing. But what we have to continue to do is keep people here who want to fight for what's right. And I congratulate you for what you did tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pruitt. Anybody else like to speak?
I got it.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you very much. And I see no other hands in council chambers. I will ask the clerk to start the Zoom process.
Yes,
Jeff, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to this council. Appreciate the time tonight. I appreciate the work of Mr. Berliner and the Fields Advisory Committee of this council, of all those who are both in favor and not in favor of the turf fields. I myself am Jeff Bernstein. I'm a resident of Teaneck. I live on Edgewood Avenue. I have multiple kids that play softball and youth sports here in town, as well as I'm the VP of softball for the Teaneck Baseball Organization. I want to thank again the council for considering the reconstruction of middle field, especially on Voti Park. The field is often, in essence, a swamp. It is unusable. Please go there. Even 2 days after it rains, there are puddles everywhere. It almost may not even need to be considered a field that is usable in almost any capacity in town. One only has to look at the sportsplex and the number of games and people playing on the fields at all times, just to show what the impact could be for having a turf field at Voti Park. I thank you for your hopeful support in this matter. And as the parent of multiple children playing softball this year, including one playing on middle field, having a turf field will be a far, far, far better playing surface to improve their ability to learn the game, to play the game, to have fun, and not be concerned about a divot in the outfield, a puddle they may run into, or an uneven playing surface. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. We have Shanaz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, 3 minutes.
Okay. First I want to start with April is Arab American Heritage Month. So I'd like to encourage everyone to participate in activities across the street so we can get to know our neighbors and their cultures. Also, as Paula mentioned today, just 6 miles from where we are sitting, a freight train derailed in North Bergen. As we speak, hazmat teams are on the ground, chemicals are spilling, and a major highway was shut down. Tonight, this is no longer a theoretical debate. Today's disaster is our wake-up call. 4 members of this council recently voted to approve the Crossroads Plan despite a fatal flaw documented in the March 3rd, 2026 Collier's Engineering Review, which explicitly warns that this drainage plan, which dumps over 5,700 cubic feet per second of high-velocity water into the rail swale, risks scouring and destabilizing the CSX rail bed. We know what scouring does. It hollows out the ground beneath the tracks. It creates the exact conditions for the derailment that we just saw in North Bergen today. In Teaneck, these tracks don't just carry cargo, they carry hazardous chemicals through the heart of our neighborhoods. They run directly alongside the Teaneck Community Charter School and the Benjamin Franklin Middle School. If a derailment occurs at American Legion Drive, we're talking about the federal evacuation zone for chemical spills, a zone that covers majority of Teaneck and Bogota. By approving this bypass system, you have gambled with the lives of our students and our neighbors. By voting yes after being handed a written warning by Collier's engineers, 4 council members have moved this township into the realm of gross negligence. If a train derails because this council ignored the Collier's report, the taxpayers of Teaneck will be liable for billions in damages while risking the health and safety of our residents. I urge you to revisit the Crossroads Plan immediately and follow the recommendations of your own engineer before Teaneck becomes the next headline. Thank you.
Thank you. We're bringing in Andrew.
Hi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, 3 minutes.
Hi, I wanted to call in on behalf of Teaneck Baseball Organization, TBO, and the Fields Advisory Board of which I sit. I wanted to thank the council for considering the proposal for middle field at Voti. And I wanted to thank Avi Berliner for all, and Councilwoman Organ for all the involvement and help and leadership that they've provided on this project going back over a year now. I've been involved in Teaneck sports for a very long time, as has been my wife's family. My wife grew up in Teaneck, and her brother is still a resident of Teaneck, still plays in many of the men's leagues, as have I for many years. the need to fix and improve middle fields has been something that's been a topic of conversation for quite literally decades. Through the tireless efforts of DPW, the Teaneck government, the town manager, a lot of effort has been put to do the best with what we've got, but these have all been Band-Aids over time. When the Field Advisory Board was put together, I can say that I've been very proud of the fact that I can't think of any other government-associated organization that has been more about really nothing about politics. Really, a lot of people from a lot of different organizations that serve different parts of the town or the town as a whole, but certainly people from different demographics within the town who have really been working together really beautifully for the purpose of the town as a whole and the organizations and people and children they represent. And when we started discussing this, the amount of unanimity in this being the right plan, this being something that could be used by a large amount of town residents, that has the best bang for the buck, that can answer a lot of environmental issues, and really is all around the best use of these types of funds for the town. It really had everyone on board, and my colleagues over at Teaneck Southern, at Teaneck High School, at the other sports organizations around the town. Their work has been extremely appreciated, and their friendship has been extremely appreciated in getting something like this together. It has not been easy, but the amount of collaboration on this has been something that I've been very proud to be a part of. And certainly the leadership of Avi in putting this together and his tireless efforts in really trying to answer every possible question. Just to be clear, I mean, this really was something that was not brought by the actual idea was not something that came from Avi. It's not something that came from Councilwoman Organ. This was something that from the ground up, the organizations themselves, we had all discussed it. This was an idea that we all had independently, and we came.
Thank you, Andrew. Apologies, your time was up. Please send the rest of your comments to council@tnecknj.gov. They are very responsive. Thank you, sir. We're bringing in Steve.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Great, 3 minutes.
Yep. My name is Steve Yaros, Teaneck resident, 949 Farragut Drive. I also grew up in town. I'm here to advocate, like Andrew, to say thank you very much for your consideration of the Middlefield at Voti Park plan. I believe, if memory serves, that my first 6-year-old instructional league in 1993 TBO was at Middlefield, and I think it needs a revamp. I think it kind of looks the same as it did back 30 some odd years ago. And I've been back in Teaneck as an adult, and my sons and daughter have all played on the Voti Park fields as baseball and softball players, and I continue to coach on those fields today. And I just would like to specifically shout out Councilwoman Organ, as well as Avi Berliner and the other members of the council for really considering this plan, as I think it's really important for us to do everything we can to enhance the youth sports programs in this town for all the leagues. And I think enhancing Middlefield will do a lot to help that and provide more capacity for our leagues throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We have Khan.
Hey, good evening, Council. This is Reshma Khan, long-term resident of Teaneck. I'm here today to say that as much as we are proud residents of Teaneck, and as the town, we celebrate our diversity and commitment. I want our residents, as well as my friends here in town, to know that we share some good news from the Advisory Board for Community Relations. As you saw a couple hours ago, we have now created a fair, transparent, objective process for awarding the Matthew Feldman Award. This award that recognizes Good Samaritans was in the past just done by way of a dialogue and discussion. Now we actually have a rubric, and people are selected on merit. through a process that is equitable and open to all. We are very proud of that work, and that's exactly the kind of inclusive leadership we'd like to have, which is why I must also speak directly about a concern that troubles many of us. And again, I'm speaking on my personal behalf here. A recent news article in NJ.com quoted as our town as a paradise lost. But while I will not focus on the central issue of the story, I am very disappointed that our council members and our mayor described ABCR, the Advisory Board for Community Relations, as, quote, mired in internal disagreements and power struggles. I find this to be highly disappointing, and I'm asking the council, how does this kind of language foster any unity in town? And as regards to all of the grievances that were aired tonight, and by the way, why do we as residents only get 3 minutes to speak in good and welfare when council members can take as long as they want and they speak ad nauseum? How can an entire community organization be dismissed? And if there are organizations working towards fairness and bringing people together, and you as elected leaders are supposed to represent us, you are supposed to build those bridges and not deepen divides. And every time council passes resolutions in support of one group while remaining silent on the concerns of others. This is Arab American Heritage Month. I did not hear anything about that in tonight's council meeting. And that message then is not of equality. It's a selective recognition. And your partial support clearly speaks volumes. That's not equitable at all. We are not here to tear down anyone. We are here to ask you to live up to the standard that TNEC has always set for itself. I ask you, please practice what you preach. Extend the same dignity, the same recognition, and the same support to all communities in this town, regardless of background, belief, affiliation. Please do not go ahead to public forums and say that the Advisory Board of Community Relations, which is actually has turned around under the leadership of Dr. Paula Madison Reiner, and we are doing a fantastic job. And we are able to bring together several beautiful communities. TNEC is stronger when every voice is heard. So we ask that you govern that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else on Zoom, good and welfare is now closed. Councilwoman Goldberg, would you like to say anything?
Sorry. First, I want to speak, Chair Dillon, I want to thank you. I fully support having the presentation at the next council meeting, along with the status, hopefully, on the drainage report. We are required to do extensive drainage for any turf that is more than 1 square mile. That law has changed since the last time we did turf. This is more than 3 square miles of turf, and we do need to know the cost for the drainage. Green Acres has since changed their rules. I recall the cost being somewhere in the $5 to $6 million range. That's why I asked for the drainage study so that we can figure out and plan ahead to move this forward. I also am going to fully admit I'm not a science person, but that's why I do want to hear this presentation, and I'm happy to hear from the Rutgers professor as well. And I want to thank Chair Berliner for the work he's put in. He knows that we speak. I happen to not agree that the company selling the turf is unbiased, but that doesn't mean that I'm for or against anything. I want more information. But aside from the science, I would like to get a status on the drainage. We all remember the drainage from, was it 2006, 7? I don't even know. And thank you, Dr. Powers, for that one. Regarding the freight train, thank you, Paula, Shanaz, my friend Art already called me. I would also like to support reevaluating our evacuation plan and seeing if we can come to a plan to really stop the idling and ensure that our residents and our emergency workers or police or fire are safe. And I would also support trying to have a meeting again with the council managers from the other 16 towns that are along the railroad track. Not all of them face the same risk that TNEC does. And one recommendation that I know Dean and I had mentioned right before he left was every resident knows their recycling zone, potentially changing that so that way they know that what evacuation zone they're in, just having the same one. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. I do hope everyone knows where to go for a train emergency. I also, again, I want to thank Deputy Mayor Organ for her words tonight. I honestly agreed with every single one of them. My no vote had absolutely nothing to do with race. and the vote was unanimous to approve the marker, and I stand by that. The Municipal Space Open Trust Board had lengthy conversation about that. I am the liaison, and I did mention it. I will just be honest, anyone can form a group in Teaneck. I know I personally formed a group with Miss Duncan and Miss Wilson, Mr. Sloan, Dr. Powers. We formed Teaneck Voices. I wouldn't vote to have Teaneck Voices or Teaneck Tomorrow, or as Deputy Mayor Organ said, OTOV or CNA or Bergen County Jewish Action Committee on a plaque as well. I think about unintended consequences in the future. And once, we are setting a precedent. And again, I would like to just also reinforce my apology to Deputy Mayor Organ for not having the courage to say what I needed to say in July of 2021. All of these groups, no matter if it's OTOV, CNA, BCJAC, NEPA, they're all important to Teaneck, and they all serve very important purposes. They engage our residents, they get out the vote, they move elections to increase voter turnout, they hold forums, they send out newsletters, they educate. They are very, very important. I do agree that I don't think NEPA is a political organization, but I do stand by my vote about not including any of these groups, quite frankly, on historical markers. And that's really that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing. Ms. Hashmat, can we please touch base with Ms. Rivera to see if there's anything we can do to help her family and her neighbors with the rodent problem?
Yes, I have been working with her every day. We've been in contact. I do have photos. The health department has been working diligently. They've been on site. They've been with the homeowner. We have pesticide proof. So we are actively working, and I am committed to, figuring this out to make sure that we do resolve it. So that we have been in communication, and like I said, hopefully we get to the bottom of this. We do have it all under control.
Thank you, Jackie.
Just to tack on to that, can we revoke the chicken license if there are repeated violations?
Yeah. So let me just outline this for everyone. Unfortunately, we get complaints. We go to, if there's any kind of property maintenance complaints, there is a process that we go through. So once we do get a property maintenance complaint, our health department does go out. We do either visit with the homeowner. We do give a homeowner the chance to be educated. Sometimes they don't realize, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Something needs to be addressed. So our approach is we speak to the homeowner. Sometimes if we can't get in touch with the homeowner, they are issued a notice of violation. Once you're issued a notice of violation, you're given X amount of days, usually 7 to 10 business days. Then we return to see if anything has improved. For certain properties, such as a chicken coop or something, the homeowner is given the rules and regulations to clean up the chicken coop at that time. When there are rodents that come on the property, when pesticides are put down, it does take X amount of days. It can take 10 to 15 days before you see any kind of improvement. So our health officer has been in communication with me, has given me updates. As I said, I have been in communication with I'm sorry, what was your first name? Dory. So I have been in communication with the residents in the area. So we are actively working to make sure it gets resolved. To your point, yes, if this does not get resolved and the chicken coop is causing a problem and there is a health issue here, we will rescind the permit because they are not in compliance with the ordinance. So that is that will be our next step. But I will remain in communication and make sure it's resolved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see where I want to go. Okay, so I'd like to make a recommendation to this council. I felt that I think we talked about this last year, maybe the year before. The way that we recognize Heritage Months by, random council members remembering and putting it on the agenda, I think does not serve this township well. I would like to recommend that at the start of the calendar year, we agree on a list of Heritage Months that we're going to recognize, and we have the clerk automatically put it on the agenda. So no one's having to remember just the Heritage Month that they most associate with, which of course leaves many feeling unheard, unsupported. So I would like to recommend, I don't know if I need a motion to do that, I don't know if this is a resolution, but I'd like to recommend that we automatically at the start of each year put all the Heritage Months on the agenda and not have one-off council members supporting Heritage Months.
I would second that.
Third that.
You want council staff for next meeting? Just confirm it up. Maybe give us your input on that. Make sense? Thank you very much.
Can we have ABCR work on that? Liaison
I
on
mean,
the calendar?
you can do a Google search. It's not hard. Yeah. I just don't want to delay it. We heard people calling and saying, we missed Heritage Month. That's not okay. What that does is it makes people feel unheard, unsupported. We can't do that anymore. NEPA. Thank you for everything you've done for this community. You have been a leader in making sure that all residents know how to use their voices. I would be remiss if I didn't shout you out. I remember when I first ran for office for Board of Education, it was crystal clear to me that you said, look, we cannot support individual candidates, but we can invite you to this forum and participate. And we can, tell you what the resources are in town for you to, run for office. And I was so grateful for that help and support and advice. And I know that you were giving it to any candidate who was running. I also want to recognize that we don't all have the privilege to say, oh, it doesn't matter if it's this group, that group. Like I would have said no to any group. There are certain voices that have historically been silenced. And we don't all have the privilege to say that it doesn't matter which group. We have to remember that oftentimes not everyone has been treated the same. And sometimes it is extremely important, where relevant, to elevate voices and not forget certain voices. And I really believe it's important that we do that for all residents, and we don't pick and choose when we want to be, oh, we're neutral on things, because I don't feel like that's been the case for the past couple of years. Finally, I want to just reiterate what was said on the ABCR. I'm so proud of this group. A couple of years ago, it was a really difficult process to go through the award selection because there was no criteria. They created a clear rubric for how they were going to select and award the Feldman Awards. And I think it was crystal clear based on the results today that they really did an amazing job. It was unanimous across the board. Everyone was so proud of all those who were selected. So I just wanted to shout them out. I think they've done a phenomenal job. And then finally on the fields, I want to reiterate my comments earlier. I do support, I want to make sure that the kids get the fields that they need, but I know you talked about Argonne having things done this year. I'm talking about major projects on Argonne, not just a little throwing them a peanut here and there. I'm really thinking about what do we want that park to look like in the future? And how can we be a little bit more thoughtful about the vision for that? It's the largest park in Teaneck, and I think the most underutilized. And that's what I meant when I said I want to look at Argonne Park, not the bits and pieces of, one or two things that we're throwing their way. I'm talking about an overhaul, and the way that we focus so much of our funds on VOTI, it's amazing. It's, very well utilized by the town, but I really do think we need to take a better look at Argonne as well. Thank you.
Councilman Kelly?
Okay, just a couple of things. So first off, I want to just thank the community, particularly the Northeast, for coming out tonight and sharing your thoughts with us. I also want to thank the NAACP for your representation tonight and your advocacy. The NAACP has played such a critical role in communities in terms of our civil rights and rights in general. I just want to mention that first off, the awards was wonderful from the Community Advisory Board. I think Dr. Paula Madison Reiner is doing a phenomenal job, and shout out to her leadership. I want to thank Councilwoman G, Councilman Pagan, and Katz, and Mayor Schwartz for your vote tonight in favor of NEPA's marker. History matters, and who reports history matters. And this is an example of why it's so important that when we stand together as leaders, we make decisions as to what side of history we want to be on. I can't say that I'm not disappointed that it was not a unanimous vote, because there were many times where votes were unanimous, where I did not truly believe that it was a right vote. And particularly, many of you have heard internationally, I had to, a couple of years ago, make a decision not to vote on anything outside of Teaneck. But there were times back in 2023, where we did make decisions and we did vote unanimously.
So I'm going to just leave it there by saying that I was disappointed that it was not a unanimous vote, because I think when we speak about leadership, we speak about the fact that we want to be to lead. We want to show our community that we are in fact sitting in these seats thinking not just about ourselves personally, or not just about our communities personally, but collectively all 42,000 residents. So that being said, I just want to say that in my opinion, paradise lost is when leaders don't consider the history of people who have and how they go about uncovering it. So it's important that we remember that what we say publicly and what we post publicly matters. It matters to all 42,000 people. So I want to thank you again for coming out tonight, and have a great evening.
I would like to make sure that the presentation that we did for the fields does not end up lost again, and we need to ask for another presentation. So I'm hoping, Scott, we can get an answer on the most money. Hildy, I would love to get together with you and see who we can bring to speak to us. I want to make sure that it's well-rounded, but I think we should hear from a group of people. So I want. Well, okay, well, we've been in meetings all night. On Sunday, I will not be there. I'm working again. I should send you my work schedule for the next cleanup because I keep getting stuck working for those. So I'm sorry about that. Chickens, I was the final holdout in the chicken ordinance, and then I rewrote it with Jesse to make sure that a permit can be pulled from somebody who's not respecting what needs to be done and respecting their neighbors. That was always the concern. Rats and hawks and things that can affect a neighbor are terrifying. I'm glad the manager explained the steps that are being taken. Things do take a little while. Either it'll kick them into compliance or the permit needs to go. It's not fair to the chickens, it's not fair to the rats, and it's not fair to the neighbors. So I hope you'll be in touch, and if things don't work out, you'll let us know.
Thank you very much. Briefly, the irony of the words "the chickens come home to roost" is tonight we heard it, and I'm thank you for the updates as it relates to the compliance. Just a few quick comments. One, as it relates to Councilman Sloan's comments, which I fully agree with, I was going to state anyways, I'll state it now. The budget was brought down to 6.99%. And I will publicly apologize because I believe we could have squeezed that down further and further down. However, unlike in the past, I was more looking towards the future years, looking towards our bond rating reviews, looking towards our fund balances, and realizing that while 6.99% may not have been the lowest, it was the smartest budget to do. And we're looking next year based on that to be quite lower with some luck. I hate to say it, maybe even close to zero with the new projects that we see coming up and coming out of the ground. So yes, Councilman Sloan, you are 100% correct, and I appreciate your comments. I'm just going to apologize. I'm actually not running for re-election, so I have a lot more liberty to talk right now as it relates to things I believe in. We need to stop talking about the fields. We need to get them built. The beautiful idea of most is that this money comes in. The comments to Argonne Park are spot on, but we cannot let the kids keep playing in mud. They're not kindergartners that like to play in mud. And we need to get this vote passed. We need to get it on the agenda with the approval of our legal team and get it passed. Is artificial turf the best? Absolutely not. I'm sure there's always issues. We cannot keep playing in mud. Mud doesn't work in North Jersey. Every town is building turf. We can't be the hero and say, well, we're going to stick to our mud fields. They're not grass fields. They're swamp mud fields. Let's stop talking about it. Let's vote on it. There's other parks we have been working on, we could be working on, and we should be working on, not at the expense of keep on talking and looking and reviewing. As it relates to Ms. Khan, your comment about you only get 3 minutes and the councils get, quote, to talk ad nauseum. These council members that speak are elected to speak. People are here to hear what they have to say. We also love hearing what you have to say. We've had numerous opportunities, hearings, public comment periods for you to talk as well. But these people are elected to lead the town, and we want to know, hear what they say, and that's why they get to speak in, quote, ad nauseum. With that, Mr. Clerk, will end good and welfare, and we'll turn this over to the next item on the agenda, which is the introduction of the 2026 cost of living ordinance, aka COLA.
Yes, sir. We just need a motion and a second and a roll.
I'll make the motion to introduce the 2026 cost of living COLA ordinance. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Belcher. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Goldberg,
No.
Councilman Pagan,
Yes.
Councilwoman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
No.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes. And with that, I'd like to introduce 172 of 2026, which is the introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember G.
Councilwoman Goldberg,
No.
Councilman Pagan,
Yes to introduction.
Councilwoman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Introduced.
And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve 173 of 2026, which is the introduction of the 2026 Cedar Lane Special Improvement District budget.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Pagan. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Goldberg,
Yes.
Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes.
Mayor
Miss-
Schwartz.
Yes. With that, Mr. Clerk, if we
Mr.
can.
Mayor,
Yeah.
sorry, can I just make a footnote to just make sure that it's clear to the residents that we don't have anything to do with the Cedar Lane special improvement budget? It's done by Cedar Lane,
Yes, the
Paid
monies
for-
are not coming out of the
paid
pockets of the
for
residents.
by special assessment to the merchants on Cedar Lane.
So noted. And that was approved. Was that a roll? That was approved, correct?
I think so.
Because we gotta get Karen Currico back otherwise. Okay, with that, Mr. Clerk, we'll go to the consent agenda and the bill list in the amount of
$6,772,027.08. And we also had Councilwoman Goldberg's resolution 177 added to the consent agenda.
okay, with that, does anyone want to, before we vote on the rest, or anything to be pulled? Councilman Goldberg, are you pulling anything tonight?
No,
need to.
Yeah, I had a question on the sewer billing one, but I don't know what number it is.
Okay, anybody else, while she looks at that, anybody else want to pull anything? Okay, Councilman Goldberg? Yep,
There a second, Mayor?
there's about to be a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Pagan. Can we get a roll call on the consent agenda and the bill list as listed?
Councilwoman Goldberg,
No on 169, abstain on the bills list, and yes to the rest.
Thank you.
Councilman Pagan,
Yes to all.
Councilman G,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Abstention on the bills list and yes to the rest.
Deputy Mayor Belcher,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes to all. And with that, Mr. Clerk, can you please read the introduction of ordinances?
Absolutely. Give me one hot second, Mayor. I'm very sorry. Councilwoman Goldberg, that was 169. That was a no.
Yeah, no on 169.
You got it. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Give me. We did our bill list. Okay, we have a few ordinances for intro. Mayor and council, my friends. We have ordinance number 24-2026, amending section 36-11.2, chapter 36 of Township Code for Township of Teaneck, adding restricted on-street parking space for handicap parking at 71 Grayson Place. Ordinance number 25-2026, amending the Township Code to revise parking restrictions on a portion of Grayson Place to allow for residential decal parking. Ordinance number 26-2026, amending the Township Code to revise no parking restrictions on a portion of Palisade Ave. Ordinance number 28-2026, a bond ordinance providing for various 2026 capital improvements, appropriating $10,812,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $8,359,900 bonds or notes. We have ordinance number 29-2026, a bond ordinance providing for various improvements and upgrades to Voti Park in the Township of Teaneck, appropriating $2 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,200,000 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. Last but
Yes.
no, we have two more. I'm
Oh.
sorry. Ordinance 30-2026, a bond ordinance providing for various 2026 capital improvements in the Township of Teaneck, appropriating $10,812,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $8,350,900 in bonds or notes. Apology.
Thank you very much.
Of order, are we voting on the bonds separately, individually? The bond.
Yeah, I'm going to vote on a bunch of things. I want to actually
individual.
discuss. You're asking me, or you're
Yeah,
statement?
I'm making a statement. We're,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
what we're doing, right?
Yeah, sure. We could
Before
do
we
that.
get to
Wait,
that-
Ordinance 31. I'm very sorry.
Oh, more.
Ordinance 31-2026, a bond ordinance providing for various improvements and upgrades to Votee Park in the Township of Teaneck, appropriating $2 million, therefore, including a grant from the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation for $750,000 and a note and proceeds in the amount of $531,000 and authorizing the issuance of $719,000 in bonds or notes. Mayor, as usual.
Thank you very much. Before we, yes, sir.
Just,
Which one are you commenting on?
no, yes, one is the 26-2026. Can I just get a clarification exactly what
Yeah.
area that is?
26 is a cul-de-sac on a no parking, no standing manner at the end of the cul-de-sac on Palisades Avenue, which you do not have any issues to recuse yourself. on.
Right, okay.
But
And
the
that
second
was
one,
requested by that,
by the school. There was some kids pick up and drop off and ticketing as a result of cars staying there. There's, I believe, if I'm correct, there's a no standing that we're making a no parking due to,
Yeah,
due to some,
it'll be a no parking and they can use it for drop off.
exactly. That we're dropping off kids and getting tickets on the way.
and then number two, just as a side note, I see the Oregon Forest Park sign. I don't remember it coming in front of the sign subcommittee, and I was just wondering if I can make
What's, I'm sorry, where's it?
the Oregon Forest Park sign.
Okay.
I was just wondering if I could make some changes, make sure
Yeah.
that
That sign's there already. It's the small sign that's going below it. That's going to list the Northeast Block Presidents Association and have a QR code to the library and the history.
that's the one that we're talking about.
The other one's there.
Okay,
Thank
you.
Thank you. And I actually like to talk to the council on ordinance number 25, which I urge everyone to vote against. 25 is allowing residents who made a petition on Grayson to have resident decal parking. If we proceed and approve this, every single block in Teaneck will then make that motion. And where will we have parking? Nowhere. So I strongly urge this council has never voted, with the exception, I believe, of Martens and Ward Plaza, to allow it. I'm not even sure if
And by
our
FDU,
and by FDU's,
across the street there.
that's
because-
Martens. The condominiums across from FDU's Martens. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, this is the thing you and Dougie were talking about earlier, right?
This is yes. So I'm not gonna be making a motion on the ordinance. I urge everyone else not to make the motion, let it fail, or else we will have,
Can I
a-
just have a footnote?
you can do 2 foot.
I was always told when it came to these requests that the resident on the block does not own the block. The township owns the block. It's the Teaneck block. So even though I live on Phelps, I could park on Cumberland because Cumberland does not belong to you, it belongs to everybody. So that's why for many years we've rejected with just that exception that I know about FDU, because FDU students were infiltrating that area in order to go to school there. So that's when we came to that conclusion at FDU and Martens. So I just don't know if that's still the policy, that the whole town owns the block, or if it's now I own the place in front of my house.
That's always been the case.
I just want to
Yeah.
clarify, though, that this isn't giving someone at 123 Grayson Place a reserved spot for the person at 123 Grayson Place. This opens it up to residential and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you, Mayor. I'm just clarifying that what this does is opens up the opportunity for anyone with a residential decal. So if Kristen and I have residential decals in the Township of Teaneck, we could go to this block or we could go to that municipal parking lot. I just wanted to give that small point of
So
clarity.
it's not restrictive to that area. So like now in order to park in front of Cumberland, I have to get a Township of Teaneck decal so I can park everywhere in Teaneck?
No.
But
Doug, what you're saying is it's just a Teaneck resident decal. You could live on any block. You don't have to live on Grayson to have that.
Yes.
but our clerk cannot park on Grayson to drop anything off. Understood? Just for her. Kristen can.
I'll walk.
You can get a ticket.
I'll get a
You can get a ticket.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
She's walking in.
Yeah.
Councilwoman?
Yeah, no, I'm assuming it's because of the bus stop right there on Teaneck Road. That's why they're doing this. People are coming to park on Grayson and walk to the bus stop on
There's
Grayson.
there's a slew of different reasons that we hear from residents. That's one of them.
And the bagel shop and maybe, I don't know, what else? All right. My other question, on the no parking on Palisade Avenue, is this by where it turns into Tryon?
You talking about Ward?
No, on the 2626?
No,
Oh,
this is a cul-de-sac.
Further down.
This is
It's
all
down
the-
further at the end of the,
It's at the actual end dead end. We're actually
Oh,
talking
like
about.
past Tryon. Okay,
That's
cool.
right. We're talking about the dead end itself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I ask just to piggyback on what Councilman Katz was saying? So I thought that we couldn't do resident decals either. So I'm a little confused. I thought that we couldn't issue special resident decals either. So
It's not issuing special resident decals to all the residents. It's the decal system that we currently have where residents can come and buy a resident decal that will permit them to park in certain areas.
So the streets that we currently have decals on, were they recent? Like, I mean, are they, it just seems odd that, so, okay, I'm just a
Are
little,
we saying that Grayson falls under the same conditions that the residents on Martins were seeing? That Grayson are a lot of people parking there because they're taking the bus, because they're going to the deli or the bagel store? What's the reason that this block gets it and another block doesn't? I think that's what we're having a hard time with.
100%, because that is the north, that's a problem in the Northeast. That is a major problem
Oh,
that
it's a
people park.
problem in the
Yeah.
entire-
It-
in
yeah,
the
any-
entire-
on
We
Teaneck
did
Road,
do
any-
this on
yeah,
Irvington
yeah,
Road a couple
yeah,
years
the
ago. We did it on Rensselaer a
Yeah.
few years before that.
Did what on Rensselaer?
Resident decals
You need a resident decal to park on Rensselaer?
on a portion.
Not,
It permits you.
but you can live anywhere in Teaneck and have the resident decal. You don't have to live on Rensselaer.
And if I live on Grayson, use an example, and I get a ticket, I forget because I didn't want to pay the $50 to the clerk and I'm already paying too much in taxes. And now you're giving me a parking ticket because I live in Teaneck and I failed to get that decal.
Yes.
Oh.
Doug's not giving you a parking
We're gonna have
ticket.
reserved seating.
Yeah.
Everyone come and
Doug's not
complain.
giving you a parking
Everyone
ticket.
complain. Well, Doug can't get
Yeah,
the parking.
yeah.
You're still not allowed to park.
Unfortunately, in this specific case, I hope that would not happen because we had the residents specifically, explicitly sign on to doing this. So hopefully they will remember to go buy those decals.
I think this would set a serious precedent, because if we vote in favor of this, I can see every block organizing.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm sorry, Ellie. I just want to say, I will say that we haven't done this too often. We've done it sometimes in the past, not incredibly often as we do for other time changes on certain blocks. None of them have had a conversation like this, I will also say. I don't necessarily disagree with you guys that it displaces the problem. It certainly displaces the problem.
But also, maybe we're solving the problem with the wrong solution, meaning what we've done in the past from Teaneck Road, Ridgefield Park, all the way down to Bergenfield, is created like the nuisance ordinance within those small blocks, which means that we say, okay, no parking from 9 to 10. So we know that, no one's getting on a bus at 8:30 and coming back at 9 to move their car for an hour. And it is a nuisance ordinance because it's a nuisance to the commuters and it's a nuisance to the people that are living there because they're subject to the same rules. So, but that was the solution. It was like painful solution, but residents wanted
That's
it.
what my block has, no parking 10 to 12, so commuters stopped parking there.
Correct,
It's
'cause you're
paid.
about-
That's what a lot of blocks do.
And I got a parking ticket, but I paid it.
I believe this block, this section of this block, I don't have the ordinance in front of me. I think this section of this block has that restriction there.
So, well, that's what I want to, I want
They
to.
have that restriction there and they are persisting to ask for the restriction to remain with the resident decal stipulation.
I just want to clarify this. So if you have a resident decal, if you live anywhere in Teaneck and you have a resident decal, you are allowed to park anywhere that is restricted to only individuals with resident decals, whether you live on that one specific street or not. You have a resident decal, you can park anywhere in Teaneck where that is restricted to it. Under this specific ordinance, the parking is currently prohibited at these different locations. Let's see, on the Grayson Place, for part of it's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, except for holidays. Another part, it's from Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, 10 a.m. to noon. So nobody is allowed to park on Grayson on those two areas within those times. The resident decals would allow you to park on Grayson during those times.
So they want to
it's almost
circumvent,
a
they
reverse.
want to circumvent the nuisance ordinance.
That's exactly. It's almost
It's a nuisance to everybody but
them.
But
them.
well, no, I wouldn't say just them. Anyone who has a resident decal.
Yeah, if we approve this, I'm gonna have Lambert Road in here next meeting.
I-
Do the same.
I fully support council and their inherent right to apply discernment to every single policy that they enact.
But no,
Of
but
which you all do. So.
But if we approve this, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're solving the problem with the solution that they want. If we approve this, they can still get 50 new residents who have a resident decal now parking in their nuisance ordinance area.
Yeah.
So they didn't chase away anybody and they didn't create additional help to
They
themselves.
are aware of this
They're
risk.
basically just taking down the signs to anyone who's willing to pay $50. And if I was a commuter, I would do
Except
it.
for Doug, even if he pays the 50
Well,
bucks. Like,
except
even if
for
Doug
Doug.
pays
Man,
50 bucks, it's still
Tracy.
That's what it is.
It's
So
not
they-
just $50 because when your
They
car
remove-
breaks down and you take your wife's car and you forget your decal, we're going to be there ticketing you. So now
Right.
you're looking at $50 a year plus $50, and then I'm going to make the
And,
And-
and if they park during the snowstorm with their wife's car, they're gonna get ticketed, towed, and prosecuted.
It just sounds
Absolutely.
like council really doesn't support this ordinance, so just vote accordingly. Vote
But
accordingly.
the problem is, I don't think that we're doing justice to the residents of this block by not giving them a solution to their problem, but there is no solution. They're just opening up they're actually reversing their solution right now.
Many people bought houses in that area because they commute to the city. It is not an exclusive right to the people that bought houses there. It's a bus line. It's not a new bus line. We'd love new bus lines.
We've dealt with some other blocks along that corridor, heading south on Teaneck Road, where they encounter very similar situations. And they've been granted the petition opportunity. They did not come back with things like this. The residents are free to ask council for something. Council is not obligated to
What?
give.
No,
Yeah,
but
I just will say that what you were just saying, Mr. Mayor, the residents who live on Grayson who commute into the city currently they can't park on their own street during these times. So this would allow them, unless they, if they're parking on their own driveway, that's one thing. But this would allow them to do that. Like, let's say if they did move there specifically.
No, I totally get it. And they have driveways for that if they
don't
so
we
desire.
still sell, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. one more question.
Yeah.
Do we still sell commuter stickers for Ward Plaza? Remember, was there an area that we created in Ward and also in State Street for commuters to park there? So if I was a commuter, why would I pay for only two areas? I'd buy a resident sticker and now I get a whole new area.
So they can't, the
Well-
non-residents cannot get.
No, no.
Yeah.
I'm a resident. commuter.
41,000 people are eligible.
Yeah,
Not you.
I don't think we're solving the great.
The resident,
41,000,
listen,
then again, 41,000.
I just want to say before we continue a little further, it's 10:54.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the meeting to 11:05.
I think we might need 11.
11:30.
We're opening up
Second.
Pandora's box right now with our parking.
11:30.
Second.
We're opening it
Second.
up.
All in favor at 11:30?
Aye.
Yeah, but I make a motion to table this ordinance and please and come back with some type of better solution.
Second.
No, because we're not,
No.
the residents are still being pained, but I think they're coming up with the wrong solution.
Well,
They're
make
coming
the
up with-
motion to, what was the motion?
To table
He
it.
tabled it. I seconded it.
Want to kill it? Yeah, the whole thing doesn't make sense. That's what we're saying. Before what?
I'm just looking at this closer. There are 4 line items and then it says 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. from Teaneck.
What's the?
Correct. But basically it says if this is still valid, they still can't park anywhere between Teaneck Road and Queen Anne Road. This is just Teaneck to Prince. So these are contradictory. Look, Teaneck to Queen Anne Road, no parking 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
But then Teaneck to Prince, you can get a decal from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, but you can't park from 8 to 12 or noon to 4.
It's
It's contradictory. This is bad. Yeah.
I didn't like the whole word. Oh.
How about this? Is anyone like to make a motion to approve this?
No, I think.
No, we
should
have to table it.
Table it.
No, what the clerk is saying is don't table, there's no motion and it dies, is what he's saying. Does anyone like to make a motion? Nay. Should we start calling on the other ordinances for motions? Ordinances. Sorry.
Make a motion for 28 and 29, ordinance 28 and 29.
Mayor, we
Yeah.
discussed 20, before we do that, can you discuss 28, 29, 30, 31 then?
Okay.
We vote on ordinance 24.
No, I'll make the motion to approve 24, to introduce 24.
Second.
And it was second roll call on 24, please.
This is the handicap space. Councilwoman Goldberg.
Not
Yes.
Grayson, but Quinson.
Yes.
Not really. No.
Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman G.
Yes.
Councilman Katz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 26 about the cul-de-sac and Palisade.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Goldberg.
Yes.
Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman G. Councilman Katz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Organ.
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, and now we go to the 4 ordinances as it relates to the budget. Let's take this a little slowly. And we have 28 and 29, which you can vote for or not vote for. And if you do, you cannot vote for 30 or 31. They contradict. So only 2 could be introduced tonight, and 4 votes are required for introduction purposes only. Mr. Attorney, did I get that comment right?
You did.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor, can we discuss
Sorry,
them?
we have 2 people. Hold on. People like to speak. Who wants to go first?
I'll let her go first.
Go ahead.
Deputy Mayor Jean. Deputy Mayor Belcher, sorry.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that on, it seems like from reading the emails from our CFO and under his advice, I'd like to propose a motion for ordinance 28 and 29.
Okay, I think, before we start jumping on the vote, Councilwoman Goldberg, you wanted to speak in that regard?
Yes, so I'm repeatedly asked about my votes and why I'm voting no on something, and I always have a reason. So I did the work, and I did a lot of it. And again, I want to thank Councilman Sloan and Councilman Castle for allocating this money. In the back of our audits, we all got it. There is money sitting there. This is voting for the same exact project, the same ADA playground. But if we if 5 members of this council pass ordinance 29-2026, they are intentionally choosing to borrow 1.2 million and burden our taxpayers with years of interest while letting $500,000 in cash sit unused. Voting for 29-2026 is an unnecessary debt. 31-2026, as I said, I worked with our auditor on this, and he sent an email over a year ago now, directing exactly what's in here. This is currently it is authorizing 719,000, and if we get that 0% loan from Green Acres, it's 0 debt, and they get the same playground. It's the same project, saving our taxpayers money. They work really, really hard for their money. They don't deserve us to just vote for debt and interest when the money is sitting there. Thank you to Alan Sloan and Jason Castle.
Okay, point of
Can we stop with the thank yous, like 10-year thank yous? Let's focus on the facts, please. Because when you go with the thank yous, all of a sudden it just seems political, and it doesn't seem like we're focusing on the real mission, and you're not going to get the support that you're looking for when there's a constant plaque. Maybe the plaque committee can start talking about getting an award and put my name on the bottom also as thanking Jason Castle. He's around.
Okay.
So can I just mention one thing, and that is our CFO was very clear about Green Acres financing was behind us. This was something that was not possible for moving forward for 30 or 31. So that is why I say let's deal in truth. Let's deal in what we know, the knowns that we're faced with, and govern accordingly.
Yeah, the deadline for Green Acres was at the end of February, the last day of February of this year. It's a 2% loan, not 0, and we can still apply for it. We just need to bond now to be able to to build a playground, we don't have to use that money. We can see if we can get the Green Acres loan, but we also need to find out what strings are attached to that, because anytime we work with them or the DEP, things end up taking longer. And we want to make sure that we get this playground done for the children as soon as we can, especially with the matching grant.
So I agree with you, Deputy Mayor Organ. So why wouldn't we reduce that number? Again, this is authorizing the issuance of debt because this still has to apply for the loan, but we're using $531,000 in cash. So why wouldn't we authorize less debt when we have the cash? It's the same exact project, and I agree with you. We still have to apply for the loan. We didn't necessarily get it yet. So this is issuing $719,000 of bonds or notes to finance part of the cost, $531,000 in cash that we have, and $750,000 in the grant money. So it is the same project, and I do agree with what you just said. But it's less money. That's less interest.
Mr. Manager, can you opine or have Mr. the CFO see around?
Oh, yes, the CFO and the auditor are on Zoom. So I'll start with Issa and he can cue in Dan.
Can we actually start with the auditor, if you don't mind? We
Sure.
always get to hear from the CFO, but if we can hear from the auditor,
Absolutely.
I would love that. Mr. DeJange, are you on? Look, you're gonna bring him out.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
All right, I won't talk so loud. So to give you a little bit of clarification on a couple of these ordinances related to the park improvements. The two ordinances, the major differences in the two of them are that one has additional funds allocated and the other one is using funds that were previously approved back in 2016. Related to the Green Acres loan portion, both can be, either ordinance can be funded through the 0% or 2% Green Acres loan. There really is no difference there. They both have that ability. One of the thoughts with using the greater ordinance is that the town has the ability, if needed, to spend additional funds on the project if costs run slightly over, or to cancel those funds. So if in the end the project comes in under budget and those funds aren't needed in the 2016 ordinance, they can be canceled. It doesn't cost the town any additional money, because the only cost to the town financially is when we actually go out and borrow funds. If we don't spend the money and we don't borrow the funds, there's no financial impact to the township. So using that philosophy, there really is no impact to the town. The ordinance that's larger gives you more options. The one that's less money gives you less options. And I think it's really your call, what you feel is best in this situation.
Would you mind repeating that last line about the options? Just go back to that last line to your summary, that
Sure.
if flexibility, you don't have flexibility in options?
Yeah, so if you go with the $2 million ordinance, the larger amount for the park, it gives the town the ability to, if there are cost overruns or a slight change in scope, or if council wants to do an additional item on the park, the funds are already allocated and available to be spent. If you go with the other one, you're limited to the other one's $531,000 less. So that's why
You're stating go with 20 and 29 or 30 and 31. I apologize if you don't know those numbers.
I don't know the numbers. The
Issa,
$2
can
million
To do on vacation.
Right.
the $2 million ordinance
They're
gives you
both for
greater
$2 million.
options.
They're both totaling $2 million. They're just allocated differently.
Well, the 2 million, the one is utilizing funds from the 2016 ordinance, the 531,000. You'll see it's considered a reappropriation from a prior ordinance. That should be the latest one on your agenda.
So you're suggesting 30 and 31. Sorry, Issa, maybe you can give them the numbers. I'm really looking for what is our order, which ordinance numbers is our auditor suggesting we vote for? Is Issa there?
Trying to pull it up right now.
No, it's fine. Issa knows the numbers called. No, Dan, I don't expect you to know the numbers. So let's see what we'll just Issa without not asking
Sorry,
for
I'm
here
here.
right this second. I'm just asking for the facts.
So the fact is that ordinance 29 and 30, 29 is the original, 28 is the original multi-purpose ordinance that was provided by bond counsel and worked on by the budget subcommittee manager, myself, and auditor. And ordinance 29 is the larger amount, as the auditor was saying, for the $2 million for Voti Park. Ordinance 30 is the ordinance with more specific use for the community pool. And ordinance 31 is the lesser amount offset by the 2016 ordinance.
Understood. Our auditor made his recommendation. Can you tell us which of the ordinance numbers, because he didn't know the numbers, nor did we expect him to, what ordinance numbers is our auditor recommending we vote for? I'm looking for 4 digits now.
Mayor, you asking me or you asking the auditor specifically?
I'm asking you because he doesn't know the actual numbers.
Okay.
The auditor.
So what I heard and understood was the auditor, ordinance 28 or 30, again, it's up to the council for the multi-purpose. If you'd like to give the manager and basically DPW director more latitude, if I had a vote, would vote for ordinance 28. And the greater number that offers you more options is ordinance 29. The ordinance with less options is ordinance 31 for Voti Park.
Mr. Auditor, were you able to clarify the numbers for you to attach to your recommendation now by any chance?
Yes, I believe based on what Issa, the CFO said, ordinance 29 is the one with the greater options.
So you recommend we vote for ordinance 29?
And 28.
And which is the second one you recommend voting for? I'm not looking to put you on the spot. I apologize, but this is where we trust our experts here, or at least I do.
28.
I follow you blindly, as you know.
Well,
you are the bond and budget god. Not like the snow Bible, you're the budget Bible.
It was 28 and 29 was what the CFO had said. And that one gives you the greatest options. That way you can move forward on projects as you see fit.
And Mr. Mayor, isn't that what we want for our taxpayers? Don't we want to have that flexibility? I'm sorry. I'm just asking you this question. Don't we want the flexibility of having greater options in terms of for our?
I actually want to just vote blindly for what the auditor recommends.
Sure, of course.
That's just my personal opinion. As bad as that sounds, he knows it better than I do. I'm not the expert. I'm not the subject matter expert.
But he said that to us, 28 and 29 gives us greater options for our town.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Can I move 28 and 29?
I want to move all 4 of them.
We move to and
So
then
I'll
we
move
have to
30 and
wait.
31 then.
Okay, we can vote on all. We'll see what wins. Who wants to vote? Can we vote on all 4? Are we going this in order? How does this?
We can vote. We did that on the fire.
I'm asking, like I asked the auditor. There's my legal god. I'm asking the lawyer now.
I would like to
In
make a
writing,
motion
on the
to have that,
jacket.
change on my jacket. We can vote on,
God.
we can vote on all of them, or we should vote on all of them in whatever order. Council.
Thank you very much. So
it's
all of them, you moved 2 and you're moving the other 2?
Yep.
Is there a second on your 2? We have motions to move all 4. Let's call the roll calls on all 4, please.
28, 9 will move first.
We're going to vote all 4. 28,
No, but
29?
you can't do that. You have to do
I
two
was
at a
just-
time.
Okay,
The first motion, the second.
that's fine. We have motions on all, we'll move first. Fine. Yes? Just to vote on all 4. We're going to vote on, everyone's getting their motions done. Everyone's getting a vote tonight. Question is what passes is a separate story. Okay, roll call on 28, please. Introduction.
No, on 28 because it's not specific.
It's a no. Okay, 20, wrong.
Gone.
No.
Councilman G.
Which number is this one?
28.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oregon.
Yes.
Yes. 29 roll call, please.
29, Councilman Goldberg.
Absolutely not.
No.
29, yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now we're ordinance 30, please.
Motion. Second. Councilman Goldberg.
Yes.
Councilman Gunn.
Yes.
Councilman G.
Number 30? No.
Councilman.
Just for clarity, 30 is the 28 alternative?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Deputy Mayor Belcher.
No.
Deputy Mayor Wood.
No.
No. 31, please.
Councilwoman Goldberg, second. Councilman Gunn, Councilman Goldberg,
Yes.
Councilman Gunn.
Yes.
This is 31?
31.
No.
Yes.
Mayor Belcher.
No.
No.
No. So we have two showing up next meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?